Hey, it's my interview button. What's up, man? You there, Matt?
Yep. How you doing?
Sweet. Good, dude. How you doing? How's your week?
Doing good, doing good. Thank you for having me, and thank you for being here.
Oh man. Oh man, this is like my pleasure to have you on, man. Like you've been part of the Connecticut scene for a while, right?
Yeah, I'm an old man in the Connecticut, New Haven County mostly.
That's
But
awesome. That's like where Chesky's from, right?
yeah, yeah. I've known Chesky for a while. We've played shows together, and I've seen him dozens of times, and
Hmm.
he's a good guy and very involved and just incredibly talented musician.
Oh,
So
most definitely.
it's been cool to see and network with. And yeah, he's in the area, and um, I think he went to high school with some people I knew from high school too.
Oh hell yeah.
I grew up in Milford, and there's yeah, some mutual friends there. So yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. That's awesome. So how would you like describe your style as far as like compared to like the Connecticut sound?
Um, I guess it's kind of hard. A lot of people may even say this, but like I'm all over the place, kind
Hmm.
of. I, as we just mentioned before, uh, associating with Chesky and the music scene in Connecticut, and that involves a lot of hip hop and indie rock and punk rock in the area. So I've been playing, I play with those types of acts and shows there, and then I also um, I do a lot of I'd say earlier on, I kind of played a lot with more of the acoustic songwriter folk type scene musician shows because
Okay.
I played an acoustic guitar, but obviously I kind of stood out from that because I'm live looping and I'm playing to beats I produced.
Yeah.
Um, so like that, um, it works and doesn't sometimes I would say, but and then also, I play with um indie rock and electronic in other instrumental noise type acts,
Hmm.
and as well as most of my musical upbringing has been more in the heavy metal type
Okay.
scene, and I played most of my musical upbringing was playing the bass. And from 2010 to 2018, I sang bass. I played bass and sang in a sludge metal band called Burroughs,
Okay.
and we played a lot in Connecticut and Massachusetts, and we have 4 EPs, and that was like a good time. And um, so I have that kind of heavy aspect in some of my music as well because that's naturally what my background is, and if not more so, I'm probably doing that a bit more now because I'm not active in like heavy bands as I once
Hmm.
was. I get like uh, I've pretty much been doing So I've been doing the foursome since around like 2005, technically.
Okay.
And But I didn't start playing shows with it until around like 2012, maybe.
Damn, that's kind of a
Um,
huge gap.
because it just started. I was just like playing my acoustic guitar in my bedroom. The
Yeah.
name the Forest Room came from where the wild things are. There's a line in his room, in Max's room, a forest grew. So I wrote all this stuff in my bedroom, a room with a forest, and that sounds really
Ah.
cool. And I have this ambience to it, and
Hmm.
so that's it's a vibe. That's what I've been doing since. But yeah, and
Yeah.
also like playing heavy metal and stuff like that. The Forest Room was kind of like the opposite of that, something really chill and spacey and just really chill. No, no intention of vocals, but still pretty melodic at times. And at first, just started out me just looping guitar parts on a delay pedal, and
Hmm.
then I kind of upgraded to um, what's called the Digitech Jam Man. It was a mono version, and
Was that like one of those like pedals that had like a bunch of different sounds in it?
no, it had like two foot switches on it, and it had a old memory card, like an SSD card, I want to say. I'm not too familiar with that, but
Mm.
I would basically create wave files and load it to a numbered bank on the looper pedal, and
Oh.
then I would loop on top of that. Uh,
Okay.
So and also I produce all my drum beats. I feel like I may not be as knowledgeable as I may sound, but like I pretty much do everything in GarageBand. I've always
Hmm.
done everything in GarageBand. Earlier on, I was making. I took electronic music class in college in like 2006,
Okay.
and I learned how to use Propellerhead Reason, and I have some stuff made with that. But and I also have some beats that I made with an app on my phone. I think the app was Figure, which is actually I'm pretty sure it's like made by Propellerhead Reason,
Uh,
but mostly it's all in GarageBand, and then I export a WAV file and I kind of mix it in Audacity to so I can basically get the file type to go to the Digitech pedal correctly, the specs, file specs,
right.
and then also I kind of very loosely I do it mostly in GarageBand, but sometimes I have to tweak a few things like EQ or mix wise so that it sounds good coming out of my amp.
Yeah, okay, that makes
So
sense.
like
I want to get to your amps too, but I want to kind of like back up and talk about like your actual like your first introduction to music. Like when did you start like when was music like an obsession to deciding to want to play?
um so I was given a guitar at the age of 10, and so it'd be like 1992. So I was given a guitar by my father. He gave my brother and I a guitar, and I didn't really he told me like the major scale and
Hmm.
like a couple power chords, and like that was it. And
It
then
was an
after that,
acoustic guitar.
no, it was like a Strat copy,
Okay.
a K. I actually sold it a few years ago just because it was just taking up space, but I never used it. But
Hmm.
and I ended up building another guitar. But anyway,
Hmm.
so I had a Strat copy, and then I didn't really start to. So I learned I had the major scale and some power chords, and that was it. And then I started to um pick up songs by ear around the age
Hmm.
of 12, 13. And like,
Okay.
power chord rock, I was learning like Nirvana and Green Day and all that grunge stuff back
Right.
then. Um, and then I started like a band with my cousins, me and my cousins, and we're just playing like Weezer songs. And then I kind of wanted to like take it a bit more seriously. So then when I was like 14, I wanted to play bass because I didn't know any bass players. No one
Right.
knew any bass players to be in a band. Like, and I wanted
Because
to
they all
try.
everybody pretty much wanted to play guitar.
Yeah, it's either guitar or drum. I mean, not as many drums, but everyone had a guitar.
Hmm.
Anyone who wanted to try it had a guitar. And if I wanted to be in a band, like I would be more valuable as a if I was like, oh, there's not no bass player. So
Yeah,
I got it.
that's
I
a
was
word
four.
to the wise, honestly. Like, if you go to any like guitar center and go, "Hey, who needs a bass player?" You'll have like 10 hands raised.
Oh, totally. Like I'll go in a guitar. There's one guitar center right down the road from me, and I'll just go in after work sometimes and noodle around. And like people like try to ask me to play bass because they're looking for bass players in the store already. Like
Right.
like they're there to hope they might hear someone over the by the bass section.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, because they want to accompany or take a solo or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Man, it's awesome. I don't think bass playing is as rare here. Like, I feel like I know a lot more bass players than guitars players. Honestly, it's kind of weird now to think
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
But my friend Tim, he's a bass player that
Mm,
we played in another band called the Extracts, and we were doing that thing for a little bit. But this is other dude named Bo. He was the open mic bass player, like the house band. Oh my god, he played with Erica Badu, I think, if I'm not
nice,
mistaken, and
nice.
just that's she's from Dallas, so he's super old school too. Like, he's been in the game for a long time, and he's just like one of those dudes that, like, if you play any song, even if you wrote it and you've never played it out loud before, he'll
Yeah,
figure it out and he'll come up with a sick bass line. You're like, yo, can I
yeah,
use that?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's sick.
so yeah, offering to be a bass player, very valuable.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
like
that first, you said you started a band with your cousin.
yeah, I started being with my cousins, and like they just one played bass and one played drums, and I played guitar, and like
Mm,
it was kind of cool to hear like just all right, this sounds like kind of like what I'm hearing on the radio, like as
yeah.
far as I'm playing the songs kind of properly.
Yeah, like they're all in
Uh,
key.
yeah, yeah, and then when I got to middle school, like I said, like I was like 14, and no one knew any bass players, so I got a part-time job. I repainted the local community center
Oh, that's
and
dope.
cleaned it up and painted stuff inside to make it look nice. I did that for like a summer, and then I saved up and bought a Fender P bass, and
Nice.
that was I still have it. But yeah, I bought a Fender P bass, and to be honest, like I got kind of like it was like it felt more at home than the guitar because I was like, all right, I'm already ahead of the game because I was playing the guitar a little bit,
Hmm.
as far as getting my very first bass. But being able to I was playing I play with my hands, like,
Hmm.
my fingers, no pick
Yeah.
with the bass. And that just felt like way more natural to me
Oh
than
yeah.
trying to do the guitar at that time, but obviously as I got older, that like
Right.
the
Shifted.
skill spreads out or changes, but
Hmm.
like at that time I'm just saying. But yeah, like, so I started playing bands like when I was like in middle school with friends, playing like Black Sabbath type stuff. And like when I was in high school, I was playing in bands that played, I played in bands that played, I don't know if it was kind of like Red Hot Chili Peppers stuff. We played some. I was able to, play bass, slap, and do all
Oh,
that
that's
stuff at a
cool.
kind of young age. So that seemed kind of impressive.
So you said
And then
like using your right hand was a lot more natural to you. Like, did you ever like try chicken picking or Travis picking when you were playing guitar?
kinda, but those strings are, because they're thinner, they just chew your fingers up more. So
Hmm.
like I didn't like that as much. And although
Yeah.
these strings are thicker, I could do this all day.
Yeah.
So like that's how that was for
Oh,
me.
okay, I
But
get it.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a totally different feel.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah,
Um,
yeah. Go ahead.
so like yeah, like I was playing in bands in high school, and uh, I was the kid who like I just wanted to be good at it. I hung out in my room and played for hours. I just played to the radio or play to my CDs, or I would go to the library and get books, or I would buy like, I don't know if anyone remembers back in the day, you'd get like these Hal Leonard type of like teach yourself guitar type books with a
Yeah,
DVD or CD in it. I did all that. Um,
yeah. This is like how old we are because I literally learned on a VHS tape, the one I
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
got.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
but
yeah. I think I had some. I probably had some VHS ones too. Like, but yeah, it was like a DVD or a CD, like at the time, and when even when DVDs weren't that popular. But
Mhm.
anyway, like the book was enough. And then when I got like middle of high school, I I kind of want to do more serious. I joined my high school marching and jazz band
Okay.
and concert band, and that's kind of how I learned how to read music. I had already, when I was young, like like early teenager, 13 or 14, when I got the bass, I basically made like a poster in my room with where the strings and the frets were, and just wrote and drew all the notes on every fret in the string. So
Oh
I had that on
wow.
my wall, so like I could memorize the neck like quick and easier. And then so
Do you
when I
still have
got
that?
no, but like you can get that. They have books and printouts of that these days, but this is like
Yeah.
I'm talking like early 90s. So
Right. This is
uh
like playing Legend of Zelda and like
yeah,
marking your own map.
yeah, pretty much. So then when I got to like trying to learn how to read music, it all like clicked pretty well to me because I had all the notes memorized, and I could see how certain chords, in sheet music, how those chords physically appeared. I was like, oh, so that makes sense. I see how this like
Yeah.
kind of moves. And that's how I learned more about like theory and changing keys and modes and things like that kind of. And that really, progressed my playing. And then probably after, so then I tried to do music in like college. I wanted to pursue music performance. I felt like I was like pretty good, and I was really doing well in my high school performances. And also, sort of sidetrack from that, is that I've always been a creative person too, like drawing. Like I said, I drew that poster. I've always been good at drawing.
Okay.
Like I've had like since I was in kindergarten through high school, I've had some sort of artwork in like the local municipal buildings or in the glass cases in the high school. You know what I mean? Like
Like that they asked you for.
yeah, or like and stuff I did in the classes, but they're like, hey, we want to hang this up on display because it looks nice. I've always progressed in that. When I was in high school, I was
Yeah, because
voted
there's definitely a lot of art in my school that they didn't ask for.
yeah, yeah.
That I did.
Yeah, right
No, but
on.
that's dope to have them be like yo, can you actually like, can you do this artwork? Can we hang this
Yeah,
up?
well,
And
it's like it was like class assignments, but it looked
mhm,
nice, so they asked for it to display in the building somewhere, or there would be like little contests here and there where I won like a $50 gift card to Michael's or art store or something like that. Like
that's
I
awesome.
did that all like all through high school, and I'll get to that in a bit. But like that's what I ended up doing in college was graphic design.
Oh,
We had
that's
chatted
still. I'm
before. That's
sure
what I
a
did.
million people ask you this since
Yeah.
that's one thing you're huge in. Did you ever consider tattooing?
No, because well, one of my friends thought I should. Funny story that you kind of mentioned. So you can see I got a tattoo here.
Yeah.
I This is kind of new. I got this done about a year ago, but before
Okay.
that, I had a tattoo on it that I drew it, but I had the artist put on. It was like
Mhm.
a lizard playing a bass, sitting on a bass clef,
Oh,
on the
that's
P
sick.
bass. And it
Yeah.
was like cool and it had sentimental value, but I got it when I was like 18, 19, and
Right.
it just didn't age well. So this was the
Okay.
cover up of that.
That's
And
cool.
but like that
What is
was,
this then?
it's my friend Sarah, aka Sugar Bean, Sarah Lindsay at Silence is Golden tattoo shop in Shelton, Connecticut. She did this. It's like a moth fairy with like a nature forest kind of around it.
That's
It
sick.
goes around my whole arm, and
Yo, do you have
so
pictures of that posted somewhere? Because I definitely want to
it
like.
might be, what, I don't think I ever did put it on my Instagram because it was like it took like a year to cover it because she had to go over some areas more than
Uh,
once and it was dark. So like
so was it
um
like a full color piece that was covered?
it was like big chunk of black. You can kind of see part of it here, but
Oh,
I
okay,
mean, but
interesting.
it was a big chunk of black and then like green and black and brown like there was color, but not a lot. But this was the cover up piece to that, and it was
She
such a like,
free-handed that over the your
yeah, and
original.
I'm just she's been a friend for a while, and she's involved in like she's tattooed a lot of the metal dudes in the music scene in Connecticut, and I'm just a big fan of her artwork. Her artwork reminds me of The Dark Crystal is my favorite movie of our time, and like her artwork reminds you of
The
that
Dark Crystal. That's funny.
Jim Henson Creature
Painted
stuff.
Crusaders in here. She already shouted out where the wild things are. That's one of her favorite books. She wants to get a Max tattoo.
Nice.
Um, that's my wife, by the way. A
Oh,
Painted
nice,
Crusader.
nice.
Yeah. So also, what was the thing you just mentioned? Dark Crystal. Yeah, she's the one that showed me that for the first time.
Oh, hell yeah,
So yeah,
it's
she's
the
definitely
best.
yeah into that more '80s dark
Yeah,
fantasy
yeah.
kind of stuff. It's really awesome.
Labyrinth, all that stuff
Labyrinth,
is,
oh, that's my
yeah,
shit, dude.
yeah.
That just
So,
for David Bowie in general.
oh yeah,
Hell
oh
yeah,
yeah.
dude. Yeah, so like, so that was like up until what, your teens that you were playing, or
Yeah.
did you already had gotten to your college?
So I tried to do music in college for music performance, and it was a pretty brutal like auditioning process to get into any sort of like educate music program. And
Right.
I was even considering like music education or something like that, because even though I wasn't the best at sight reading, like you couldn't give me a piece of sheet music and I'd do it right away. Like
Hmm.
that is like the most valuable skill in academia, like schooling stuff, because anyone should be able to give you a piece of sheet music and be able, that's how
Right.
they gauge how good you are. But I wasn't. I had to like kind of practice it a bit. And but I knew the theory, all the notes make sense in my head of hearing all these changes. So it's like you subconsciously get that flow of people playing. And
Hmm.
um but yeah, I didn't get I applied to like a handful of schools and didn't get any accepted into any of the music programs I wanted. So I did like what I did second best, which was artwork.
Okay.
And I went in for graphic design, and I thought I was considering art education, like being an art teacher or something like that, but I would
Hmm.
have had to go to school for like 2 more years than I was already involved in. And I just wanted to get out of there and get on with life, and
Right.
that still took a long time. So like I got my bachelor's degree at Southern Connecticut State University in studio art graphic design in 2008. And yeah, and then I pretty much, so right before I decided to do that, I had a really rough first year of college. I wasn't doing what I wanted academically. I was living on a campus, and I wasn't really like getting along with people on my floor. It's mostly bro dudes, frat,
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
like I want like just really belligerent, and I'm a kind of quiet person, I guess, otherwise,
Hmm.
and but anyway, since that went so rough, I was in a band at the time, and we played like a good show at one point, and it was after like a really dark period of my life. And then after I played music, it was like I had to like keep I felt like I had to keep doing it for my mental health, you know, like to just perform and play music. So, and I also kind of just, that was when I decided like, if I'm gonna do anything musically, it's gonna be on my own terms. It's not gonna be through college and being judged and audition and trying out.
Right.
Like, I don't need to put myself through that. Uh, and also kind of in hindsight, it's like you think like at the time, like I was thinking, it's like how the hell is anyone making a living like getting a bachelor's degree in like a music performance thing? Like you're only making a living if you're like playing bass for Christina Aguilera. Yeah, I'm not
Right.
gonna be like, it's hard to be like that hired gun. I guess I don't know. It was like a it was a pretty brutal like introduction for something that had like really no, I didn't know anybody really doing any
Mm-hmm.
careers in that at the time. So like that was another reason too why I kind of like, also for healthcare reasons. I'm type 1 diabetic. I need health insurance.
Oh
I
fuck.
couldn't be like a you know, freelance like that. But anyway, like so I pursued graphic design and yeah, and then like yeah, as far as doing music, it was kind of like a very serious hobby, you know, like I never
Mm-hmm.
took time off work to pursue music really that much, you know, like you know, it was always like outside, you know, my time I had outside of work or
Mm-hmm.
class or
So did
stuff
you
like
were
that.
playing shows or were you just jamming?
In college, it was like I was playing in a band at the time that was kind of playing out, and then also at that time, so this was like 2001, um, 2001, 2002. Uh, I was a diversity DJ at the Central Connecticut State University radio station. So I
Okay.
would like play local bands that I was friends with, you know, that I played with, and
Yeah.
also uh I have a pretty diverse music taste. I know everyone says that, but like I do. But
Yeah.
like that was an introduction to a lot of underground metal stuff that I got into. You know, like their vault of CDs was insane. So like I'd always be borrowing stuff, and that's how I got into like even a lot of music I listen to today is kind of stemmed from that exposure into underground, more underground stuff, I guess you can say. And you know, when I was like 20, you know, 19, 20 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and then like shortly after that I started playing more metal bands and grindcore and like I got around 2000 yeah 2000, 2003 2004 I was on the Relapse Records street team. I don't know if you
Mm-hmm.
know what Relapse Records is, but it's like
Uh-uh.
like bands like Suffocation and Dying Fetus and Dillinger Escape Plan was on that
Okay,
label for a
I
bit.
definitely know Dillinger Escape Plane. I
Yeah.
never really dove into like really heavy music. Like
Mm,
I listened to a lot of pop punk. That was kind of my generation. I was like in high
mm,
school in 2004, 2008.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, so pop punk was like kind of like as heavy as I got, but I never really
Mm,
got heavier than that. Rise Against was like my favorite band ever.
right
So
on. Yeah, I like them.
they can get kind of heavy, you know. But
Yeah,
other
yeah,
than that, like when it starts getting into like grindcore and hardcore, like those, I'm completely oblivious. I have no
yeah.
idea.
Well, that was like my bread and butter. It still kind of is, but like
Mm.
that like just performing why, like I was playing in a lot of those types of bands, I guess you could say, like, and it was cool because at the time this is like between 2000 like 4 to like 2009ish, like Connecticut heavy scene was pretty booming, and you know bands were touring a lot and coming through, and I was in a heavy band and I got to play shows with the Relapse bands I was like street teaming for.
Okay,
I had to go to
awesome.
I had to go to record stores and count CD releases. I had to circulate and distribute a magazine. I was handing out flyers for all the tours. I was getting free stuff and stickers and like free CDs in advance of releases and stuff. So it was really cool and in a cool time for that. And then yeah, so like I guess like so that, you know, early mid 2000s, and then when I was around 2003 I was in a metalcore band, and I toured the country for like 2 months. I did a big circle around the country just playing shows in a van in
Nice.
it was like not good, but it was like traveling was cool, you know. I was kind of I joined the band, and then like it was like 6 weeks later we did that. And at the time I was in between jobs and I wasn't sure what I was gonna do in college. So like it kind of timing it worked out, but it was like a learning experience. And then a few years after that I played in another band called Swallow the Ocean in Yorktown Heights, New York. That was about an hour from where I lived at the time in Connecticut. So that was around like 2007, 2009. Um, and that band was on a label for a bit, and they were pretty popular, like surprisingly more popular overseas. And then and that was also like MySpace days, so that's like when things were even more booming then, because like people booked tours on MySpace. Like
Yeah.
it was like relatively easy like then, and you would think all the more advanced social media now would be easier, but it's not. It was so much easier then because it was like simpler. It was like
Right.
more focused direction, I guess you can say, or
Big
avenue.
Arrow, what's up, man? Welcome in. Yo, yo, yo. My friend Thick Arrow is here. He's from Florida. He's into a lot of those heavier bands. What
Nice.
was the label you said?
Relapse
Relapse
Records.
Records. Yeah, we're talking about Relapse Records, and Forrest Room was touring with one of his bands. Swallow the Ocean. You said
Yeah.
that the band you toured with?
We did do tours, but that was afterward the bigger tour I
Oh,
did. But like
okay.
that band Swallow the Ocean, we did like a few like week-long tours, and that was so much more fun and productive and cooler
Were they
than.
like smaller loops?
Yeah. We were like um like Maine, Vermont, and New Jersey and New York, like and all over that area, kind of
Awesome.
Pennsylvania, and yeah, that area
Oh
around
yeah.
2009. And
So
then
their heavier shows, like hardcore shows, did they get like crazy? Like, is there any like crazy events you remember happening?
kinda like I remember, so this was like I feel like an old man, but like 2003 I was in a band and we were in Salt Lake City, Utah, and it was like straight edge crime was a thing. That was like one of the craziest things I ever heard. Like people getting their shit beaten out of them for like smoking a cigarette or having a beer outside of a
No
venue or something. Yeah,
way.
like it was like that there. So there was like some of that intensity. I've never seen it anywhere else or like in any other like aspect or whatever. But that this is like 20 years ago.
Did you smoke or drink or anything at the time?
I drank. I didn't smoke. But like members of the band did, and we're like, "Yo, hide your lighters!" Like it was like that, and then
That's intense. I can't imagine. Like I was like definitely straight edge at the time. I didn't really even. I tried weed for the first time when I was like 18, and I think I
mm,
tried alcohol a couple years later. And that's really all I've ever tried. I mean, that literally is all I've ever tried. Not really, unless you count tobacco on a blunt. But,
yeah,
but
same, pretty
yeah.
much.
So I was like really kind of like what do you call it? A square? Like I wasn't really straight edge. Like I didn't really know the term when I was straight edge. But after I started smoking, I still was like kind of like, I don't like that alcohol and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So.
I don't drink alcohol. I drank alcohol in like high school, and I stopped drinking alcohol like 10 years ago.
Oh,
So
nice.
like it just stopped agreeing with my body. I just
Yeah,
smoke, and that's pretty much it. I just think it's a healthier
yeah. I'm definitely not gonna beat the
lifestyle.
shit out of anyone that drinks in front of me.
Yeah. But
That's
yeah, like
crazy.
as far as wild tour stuff, that was like kind of that just stands out in my head, and that was a long time ago. And then most, traveling a lot too is like it's tiring. So it was just like some of the things that that was a long time ago. But and then did some tours with, like I said, Swallow the Ocean. This was like 2009, and then after that was when I did Burroughs, and we didn't tour. We just played Connecticut and Massachusetts mostly, and we have 4 EPs. They're on Bandcamp. Two of them are on Spotify. And then yeah, so like I've pretty much just been doing so I've been doing the Forest Room, like as far as like performing and writing and all that stuff. I've pretty much only been doing that since like 2018. So like the last 5 years, I've like I was doing the Forest Room and Burroughs together, between
Hmm.
like 2000, between like 2000, what did I say, like 12, 2013 till we disbanded. It was we disbanded. We just like our drummer mostly just got tired of doing it, and um, everyone was kind of irreplaceable in my mind. I still see him get along with those dudes. I love those dudes, but we don't really like
Hmm.
the air was out of the tires at that point, and it just kind of sucks because when you're in a band, often like you feel like you kind of break up when you're at your best. Like we were at that band was at its best, like member wise. We had like a few different guitar players, and we like um it was always a good and positive writing process. And most of my music upbringing and playing with other musicians has been like if I got a riff or an idea for a song and I present it to the band, 9 out of 10 times it's better than something I could have imagined on my own. So like that
Hmm.
was always cool at writing with people. But like basically after like 2018, I kind of didn't want to do that anymore. Like I didn't
Mm-hmm.
want to play in a band. I was cool. I'm cool doing a one man band. Like I'm pretty active and busy. I'm just gonna go hard with it by myself because it's kind of like I don't gotta rely on anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
People want me to, yeah, hey, can you play a show? I could say yes right away. I don't gotta check
Yeah.
with
Call.
bandmates and circulate and wait a few days for an answer or something. Or I'm also like I said, the only bad, I guess the only like, so it's been pretty autopilot, I would say, the last few years. Like, because I produce beats, I loop to it, I write a few songs a year. I got a ton of material because I've been doing it so long. And I've only been doing pretty much just YouTube and Instagram and
Yeah.
Bandcamp and I did record a bunch of music. I just finished in April and it's getting mixed now, and I'm hoping to basically be probably stream only because I don't have anything on Spotify or any streaming services at the moment. So
Right.
I have a bunch of music so I have like I'm not total I don't have a total full plan on my release like ideas. I still got to create artwork and stuff like that for this stuff, which I'm lacking at the moment, but
Mm.
I'm hoping to have the stuff streaming by like end of this year, maybe early next year.
So do you plan on them going to Spotify and all that?
What's
Is this
that?
like, do you plan on them going to Spotify and all the other streaming services?
Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's exciting to hear because, like, usually I would play the artists that are interviewing music through Spotify, and I'm like,
Yeah,
oh
sorry.
shit, no problem at all, dude. It's
But I mean, I have
awesome.
it on. It's on YouTube, and
Yeah,
it's
YouTube and
kind. They're
Bandcamp.
mostly live recordings, but I've been getting like kind of better at like getting those types of video type content with like I got like a better interface and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
I'm
the
getting kind.
presentation's awesome, like with the lighting and everything too.
Thank you. Yeah, and those lights, I built my lights. Those light towers, I built those, and so it's all part of part of the forest room. And I pretty much always been doing the lighting very like shortly after like the first performance, I guess. Like so earlier on when I think my very first show or performance as the forest room and like outside of my bedroom was at a place. I think it was RJ Julia's. It was a book like a kind of good sized bookstore. And it was like a cafe type of setting, and I did like my looping, and I think I had my bass too at the time, so I had like bass compositions with the looping, and otherwise it was mostly guitar. And then and what it is now is like a machine. Like I still can do all that acoustic looping stuff, but I just got better with the beat production, and it's nothing too fancy, I guess, with the beats. Like I kind of can, for me, in my perspective, it's like a glorified click track, so that my loops
Yeah,
are like in sync. Like and part of it's also with how my equipment is set up. Like I use it now, like I mentioned before, I use a Digitech Jamman looper pedal,
mhm.
and then I evolved into another set of Digitech Jamman loops, the Solo XT. So I have two of these loopers, and one of them does all the drums and synth stuff, and then the other one does only the guitar stuff. But they're synced together in time, so
Dude,
they're
that's
never.
dope.
So like, um, yeah, so like it opens up some doors and closes some at the same time, like so it's kind of like hard and technical to explain, but like
Right. Let's
people.
talk about it. I gotta take the break because we're about
Okay.
to the Zoom meeting's about to end right now because
Okay.
it's like a trial thing. So I only got
Okay.
33 minutes. So we're gonna start a new meeting. I'm gonna take the first break. We'll be right back, and I want to talk more about like the actual putting together the music of the forest room. Yeah, it'd be
Awesome.
awesome. All right, so we'll be right back.
Lines for movies and put it in a song, because then that really
New link in the email.
get what they're trying to
All
do.
right, cool. Sounds
Oh, I love doing that type of shit. You already know I did that. I did it from video games. I did the BioShock. I did it all over our record.
Yeah, exactly.
I've done it a lot on all of my records. Like in my most recent record, I got Blade Runner, Taxi Driver. What else? Fuck, I don't even know. And then got BioShock Infinite, BioShock, the original. Kind of heard half of that. You're still glitching.
Kind of heard half of that. I was like,
Yeah.
wow. I was like, she's over
I was
here
like trying to
laughing
figure
and
it
you're
out.
just silent. This is.
I was like trying to
upsetting.
figure it out, but then I was like, no, I did not hear what that was because it was like half glitchy. I thought my brain would fill in the gaps, but no, it did not.
That's totally fine. Super Mutants shop at Sears is really all I was getting at.
That's funny. Super Mutant Shop at Sears. I was like,
something tiny. I will find out what it eats and I will learn to garden. I'll still try. Don't care why.
Known, but you're trying to be at the level they are. You feel like you should be on the level they are, but you haven't
Yep.
got there yet.
right,
Cool.
exactly. Yeah, it's yeah. Back to comparison. It's a thief of joy.
Right.
Just make sure that you were better than you were yesterday, and then
That's it.
Cool.
all of a sudden,
Be your best self, not someone else.
going back. Exactly. And not.
Okay, back here with the Forest Room. Thanks for chilling during that break. Yeah, so we're talking about how you use two different pedals and you sync them up. Like, how did you get them to sync up?
So I didn't find out till kind of recently, but even though I've been using them forever, they don't make them anymore now, but they have a proprietary thing on it called Jam Sync. Like you can, depending on, it's like there's 3 pedals in this Digitech series that can do this. So you can basically sync up, like, I think the most you can do is like 8 different looper pedals. You can sync up like 8 of them, but it's only if you have 8 of this type.
Of this one.
basically.
Okay, I get it.
So like there's only like 3 different types in this series, and they just connect together with an 1/8 inch stereo cable. It's almost like a click or clock sync, but I found out like recently it can't sync with my synth rig. So it's not like a real clock sync. It's something that it's like only Digitech does or something. Apparently.
Interesting.
Like, yeah.
Just so you get more Digitech products.
yeah. Like, I mean, Digitech was closed for a bit, and I think they're reopening soon. So hopefully, but that looper is the best looper, and I've tried a few over the years, and that's the best looper in my opinion, as far as like
Yeah.
seamless transitions and the sound quality. And you have to use. The main reason I have my PC laptop that I have now is because that's what I use to load the drum loops to my pedal. And you may have seen some of my photos. I got like this big like Coroplast set list that has like, I got like the song title, I got the drum bank number of the song and some of the transitions. So like, say like if one of my songs is just it's a single drum loop, then it'll be just bank number 10 or whatever, you know what I mean? But if I got a drum part that's like, I got regular drums, I got drums with better hi-hats, I got drums with a different set of hi-hats, I'll have like 3 different drum banks, and I'll transition up and down those drum changes in the looper pedal.
Wow. Like that's like with your feet while you're playing, right?
Yeah, I have a little controller that does that. And also some of the stuff that I use live is stuff that I built. Like I've always been, like I said, always being creative, always been able to like tinker and do things with my hands and figure out how things were built and made. And
yeah, I was gonna ask, like, you have your own like company, like your own amp business, like fixing and building.
Yeah, so I it's called Matt's Design and Effect. It's pretty much I mostly do guitar repairs for people because I'm a musician, and all my friends are musicians. They all see that I do that, and they just come to me to fix their guitars and stuff. And it's been like what started out as like a lucrative hobby in my mother's basement, into, I got a pretty nice workshop situation, and I've been working with tools since I was a kid. Like I was the kid who like I was building fortresses out of shoe boxes and stuff for my Ninja Turtles and stuff. You know what I mean? Like I was building cool guns and swords and stuff when I was a kid, like stuff like that, like just kind of like making things. But yeah, like, so I have a pedal board that I built, and I got into like kind of building and fixing pedals around like 2009-ish or so. I had like a pedal that had like an expression function, like an expression pedal type thing, and I saw like a thing online, and it was like, oh, that looks really easy. All I could do is like solder 2 things. I think I could do that. And then like I started doing that, and then I just went down like the rabbit hole of like that whole DIY type of thing. And as I mentioned before, I was a graphic designer and doing the art thing. Like I made all these pedals look cool because I was good at the artwork of it. And
Oh yeah.
so I started out doing the artwork of it because I had like a pretty decent like method of like using these water slide decals on guitar pedals. And I had a few people even commission me. Like I had a dude in Maryland randomly, he just found my stuff on like a message board. It's like, hey, can you do that to me for this pedal? Like I got this pedal, it's like a Pink Floyd thing, can you add like the pig and the wall to it? Like, oh yeah, totally. Like, and I did it and it came out like really good. And it was like, I've done that, I might have done it like one other time too, but like there was just, that was the time before, like, you know, like I'm 2009ish, 2010. I was kind of like before there was like more Facebook groups of that stuff. It was mostly
Right.
all this knowledge was on message boards, you know,
Like
like
even less than that is like word of mouth too. Like
yeah,
you're
yeah, kind of, but like just like, you know, like the DIY aspect being like I'm not really, I don't know much about the electrical math technology aspect of some of those things. I'm just really good at figuring out diagrams and retracing my steps and things like that. So like my attention to detail is really high, and we're talking, I'm building things that have like hundreds of little parts in it. So it's kind of like
yeah.
it gets pretty tedious, but my track record has been all right. But yeah, anyway, like, so it started out with that. And then when I was playing in bands, when I was in that Swallow the Ocean band, basically in New York, around 2007, 2009, we were going to the studio and I had to get my bass set up, you know, ready for the studio. And I used to go to this place that I used to go to when I was a teenager for a while, but they weren't open. And then like I ended up going to Guitar Center for them to do it. And he charged me like over like $100 to set up my bass, and it played like crap. Like it didn't feel good in
Oh
my
my
hands. Like
god.
the action was really low. Like the strings were practically on the frets. Like it didn't
Oh
feel
shit.
good. So I just like, I might have YouTube on at the time, and I did it, and I like did it myself. Like, oh, that wasn't so bad. And then like after that, I was like, oh, I should look into kind of doing that myself. And then I ended up taking like these, it was like an intro to Lutherie guitar repair class in New Jersey. It was like maybe a couple hours from where I lived at the time. So I drove to New Jersey and took these like guitar repair maintenance class. It was like a few hours each, just like 2 classes. And then after that, I was, you know, fixing my own gear, which I didn't have as many guitars at that time, but I had, you know, I had a few guitars.
So
And
this is
then,
when you were playing in bands too?
yeah, kind of. Yeah, this was mostly when I was going in that band in New York at that time. You know, like I said, around 2009, and that was when I got into the pedal thing. And then I went and took that guitar repair class, and then I was telling all my friends like, "Hey, I'll fix it for free. I'm just trying to learn on other instruments, you know, like 'cause
Yeah.
I can only mess with my own gear so many times, you know, like
Yeah.
so
That's amazing.
I was
So
doing
like were
I was
you were
fixing,
helping your band's gear too? Like did
yeah,
anything ever
pretty
break
much.
down at a show that you're like, "Oh, I got this."
Yeah, pretty much. Like I mean, when all the bands I played in, once I started to gain all that skill, it's kind of like I'd offer to all my bandmates, yo, I'll build whatever for free. Like, I won't charge you. You sound good. I sound good. We sound good. Like, I want you to sound good, you know, like, so I'd always offer the setups and stuff to my bandmates for free, you know, like,
That's
and then,
awesome.
like I said, like I probably was doing it for friends for free for like 3-4 years before I started to like charge, because it was just occupying more of my time. I kind of like, I
Right.
felt like I really had to charge something. So then and then after that, it's just kind of like a pretty steady thing. I with the exception of recent, before, like I just had a customer drop off guitars the other day, but like before that I didn't really have any repair. That's when you might have seen me using my sewing machines, but like I didn't have any guitar repairs that time. That's why I was using the sewing machine so much. But like
Hmm. You made like an amp cover, right?
yeah, I made covers for my amps because yeah, I travel with them a lot, and it just protects them and makes things a lot easier. But yeah, like I almost always have someone else's guitar on my work table, you know, and it's been like it's like a part-time job outside of my full-time job. My
Mhm.
full-time job now, I basically manage healthcare data. I
Hmm.
work from home, and yeah, it was just fixing guitars, and I built most of my equipment. I built the guitar that I use. I built my stage lighting. I built my pedal board. I built some of my pedals, And with the sewing, I made my guitar strap, I made my amp covers. Like I'd say 75% of my gear is something that I pieced together with my bare hands. And
That's incredible.
it's just, and all that comes, like I was raised by a single mother. We didn't have we were taken care of, but not a ton of money. So it's kind of like I always, and again, like I said, with the creative aspect and bug, just be able to pick up things and make, I just like making things. And also what comes with making things is learning how to fix other things, whether it's household type repairs and woodworking and all that stuff. That all those skills really do circulate and come together with, especially with when whatever living situation you're in. And but yeah, I just kind of made kind of the creative thing like a side gig. And like I said, I was a graphic designer. So when I was a graphic designer, so I've been pretty much doing the Matt's Design and Effect service side business since like 2009, 2007, somewhere around there. And then yeah, I pretty much always have something, and it's usually, all my customers are pretty cool. They're all like people I'm friends with anyway, kind of. And I mostly like, I'm pretty busy for someone who's just busy with that word of mouth, like I have a social media for it, but I would say it's not nearly as popular as the music stuff. But at the same time, like people ask me about my gear at the shows I play, so I end up like rambling about it, or or people geeking out. It's like, oh, you made that, like, or like things like that. And I like that. Like that's just that's rewarding to me. And it's also, with music, and having mentioned like the rough college year and then playing music, and after that music being kind of like a healing thing or whatever, mental health positivity, it's a cathartic thing to build something and then use it, or like it's a cathartic like release to create something and express it, whether it's music or like you have something, whether you can listen to it or you can pick it up, like I'm just saying, like from the woodworking creative stuff to the music thing, it's all kind of like, I think most creative people have something inside them, and I'm sure and can relate, that you got to create something. Like like I could tell, just you got stuff all over you, like you got color stuff in your background. Like I see that you appreciate art and all that. Like
most definitely,
and you're a talented musician as well. So it's just like it just has to happen.
Thanks, man. Yeah, dude. I'm definitely into art. Like I've always drawn and stuff like that too. Like where like it started in church for us. Like we would be bored during like the big sermon, right? And my mom would give us paper, and I'm a twin, by the way, so I say us a lot when I talk about my past. But yeah, we would just draw just random crap. We used to draw like Looney Tunes and yada yada, and it just like evolved into just being more creative. I'm like trying to catch up on my conversation. They're having a whole thing. Thick Arrow says you're a badass dude.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, dude. But it's like when it came to like making music, I wanted to make music. You know what I'm saying? Like I wanted to create the notes, and I was always more interested in like what I call vertical songwriting than horizontal. And what I mean by that is like chords. Like I like chords and voice leading more than I like really fast like sweep picking or something like that.
Totally same.
Yeah, it's just really fun for me to put that stuff together, and that's like my extent of creativity. Now like putting the like amps and guitars and stuff like that, I have no idea what's going on in there. Like my main electric is a Squier Fender, like I've always just bought or got the first thing I could get my hands on, or the cheapest thing, and then just play that. But I think it's an entirely different thing to like to build your guitar, build your amp, and then create the music with the instruments you built. Like that's incredible, like to hear, to know, you know what I'm saying? It's super unique. I don't know of any other artists that have or do that, you know what I mean? Like
there was I don't remember the name of the band, and I know they're still kind of relevant today because I want to say it's off picture, but I saw a band, I forget the name, but they basically built like their instruments and guitars out of like junk metal from a scrapyard, like and I saw them at a show in like a hall, like this is like 15 years ago or so, and
I feel like it's like something jug band or like jug.
I don't know, they were pretty like avant-garde indie noise type stuff, but it was like kind of guitars made out of like scrap.
I'm thinking
metal,
what's
like,
it called, like Days and Days, like same genre as like that band Days and Days,
Mm.
like DAZE and DAYS, like Days and
Uh,
Days. I thought like the one of them had like the bass player is that bucket, like the stick that's
oh,
one
I know what you're
string and a
talking about.
bucket. You know what I mean? And I don't know if all their other instruments are made that way, but I was thinking it
Yeah.
might be in the same vein, or they probably work together. I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah,
That's
I
really
mean, like,
cool.
I'm building more, obviously more commercial or traditional
Yeah.
instruments, not like weird. It's not like its own instrument, but
Right.
it's like, yeah, like I mean, I know some people who tinker, and there's a small, like, there's not many people in the state that do that type of guitar repair type thing. Like there's some, and there's networking too. Like I get repairs, like, oh, I can't do this, but my buddy over here can do that, like, so I refer them. And it's a cool networking with that. And like I got some friends from the music scene and the creative scene of, like, my buddy, he builds pedals and amps. And like I met a guy who I'm still like kind of friends with. It's mostly Facebook, but like we met through one of those message boards that I was talking about. It was the build your own clone message board. And like he lives in, I think at the time he was living in like Middletown, Connecticut, which is a bit from me, but like at the time, but like it was just funny how, like, like I said, that whole the DIY community was once a lot more genuine and not less tit for tat, than the Facebook groups of that type of stuff these days.
Mhm.
But like yeah, like it's been a cool network to be in. And then yeah, like I said, it's more when it comes to building your own and then using it, it's like I either building it myself was cheaper, or it was like about the same as I would have bought it, but just a million times better because I put the hours into building it
Yeah.
or something, or like I made it more custom to my own use or like taste or whatever.
Mhm.
So
And then with the graphic design element, like it's just like a whole nother style, you know?
exactly. Like it's just like it sounds good. I'll make it look cool too.
So did you
type
like
thing.
cut the body and everything? Like,
So on my recent guitar, I built that over quarantine, and I always used acoustic hollow bodies before, Yamaha acoustic hollow bodies. Actually, when you and I met on the Twitch for Fake Four, I was using my acoustic then, and that was actually right around the time when I was
was it?
building. Yeah, that was
Oh.
when I was. That was around the time when I was building that new telly that I built, but that stream I was using my actual Yamaha acoustic, but I built that new guitar. I bought the parts, like I bought the body. It was already cut, but I modified the body. Like a telly body is pretty square, like no curves in it. So I carved a big chunk of wood out of the forearm, so my forearm rests on it better.
Ah,
And then
nice.
I shaved part of the neck joint so that it just like it's not like it's not like a soft corner going in your palm when you're playing on high on the neck. It's like smooth, it's soft, like a round part
Nice.
on the heel. So like I did things like that. And I would have thought that also the guitar weighs a ton. That's the only like downside of that thing that I built. Like it sounds good, and I almost gave up on it when I built that. It took about a year to build that, and that was I've built like parts things kind of before. Like I have a couple bases that I built similarly, kind of, I painted them. But this one is what made it so weird and difficult was the pickup system. It's even though it looks electric, it's an acoustic. It's a piezo pickup in the saddle. There's wires coming out of the saddles. There's no like magnetic coil or like it's
Ah.
so the sound comes from, there's two types of pickups with guitars. There's magnetic, electric, that senses the strings magnetically, and then there's a piezo, which or a contact mic. But what's in most acoustic electrics, it's a little copper type of wire underneath that bone light piece of thing underneath the saddle. So that senses the sound by the vibration. So
Right.
so I got that in a solid guitar, and I built that to be like the most anti-resonant guitar. Like I wanted to still sound acoustic and woody, but I was kind of, it was like a little issue, but it was something that I still wanted to try and resolve, because also I had the time. Like it was quarantine. I wasn't playing shows. I was like shit, what am I gonna do? Like I don't know if I want to write music now, because I'm like I mean, who knows when I'm gonna play it again, you know, like
Yeah.
type of thing.
Right. I
And
was gonna ask you. You said you started in 2017, right? With Forest
with
Room.
uh, so like so 2005 technically, like that was the beginning,
Okay.
the first piece I wrote as the Forest Room, and I made like a CD or whatever, and just gave it to friends and family.
Okay, and it had the
Um,
name and everything.
yeah, I had the name, and that's when I started I started the YouTube channel like a couple years after that, like
Okay.
2007, 2009. I think YouTube was like 2007. So 2009 is when the YouTube, and then I performed as the Forest Room around 2012, 2013.
Okay.
And then but I've been only doing the Forest Room since 2018.
Okay. So
Like yeah.
like performing.
So yeah, performing the Forest Room pretty much like 2012, 2013 is when I've been doing performing as the Forest Room and aiming to be a live act.
Hmm.
And
So
then,
was it ever like a band? Like
no, I never wanted to be a band because I was doing that while I was in bands, and it was kind of meant to be the anti-band for me. Like it only exists because it's self-reliant, and
Mhm.
not to get too into it, but like I get asked, like people ask to play drums for me often, and it's like, I have drums, you just heard them, you know,
Yeah.
like what do you like, you couldn't really add anything to it. And also I can only loop my guitars with the drum beats that I produce. Like there's
Mhm.
like I mentioned before with the syncing, like there's a
Yeah.
snap, all this stuff
So if
like
they're not on
snaps.
time,
Yeah,
then
yeah, it's a delicate house of cards to loop
Mhm.
all that. And the songs are being like recorded and layered in front of you, with there's like a few parts that I have like the bass line kind of pre-recorded, but it's all done with my pedal board. It's
Mhm.
not done like in a DAW or anything like that. um but and I only do that so that, like, some song transitions, it's like you'd have to hear me play the bass before it records it and loops it. Like sometimes I had the bass just coming in to signify or make the song change transition, whatever, more
Yeah.
better, like looping everything all the time doesn't work like 100% of the time, I guess, but it can. I mean, it's just, it all varies, like
Mhm.
there's some limitations with the looping, but there's also that all those limitations and challenges is what those songs are written from, basically. Like I'm giving myself
Ah.
challenges to, like, oh, what if I triggered this drum beat this differently, or if I change the hi-hats here, and then I try that out, and that's kind of how the music is written. It's kind of loosely improvised and written that way. But yeah, like I don't seek. And also, like, I'm layering guitars. I have like 6 guitar parts in some parts, and it's like, why do I need another guitar part over that? And
Mhm.
if I was, why would I? It should be me, or like, it doesn't make sense to have another body on stage with me to do that. Like,
Yeah.
and I think, being a bass player, I think if I had a bass player, I think they'd be kind of bored. Not that the bass that I'm doing is like lacking in any way, but
Yeah.
it would just, and also that's part of my wow factor, that I'm just one guy doing all these things at one time. Like
Right.
that's what that's all I got,
Yeah. That's all I got.
not really, but you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's a big plus in my that's a nice card in my deck, I guess. I know, if you, so to speak, like so like I there's no point in compromising any of that. And like
Mhm.
I said, like if I want to do a band, I'll do a band and it would be separate, but I don't want to be like the backing music for someone, or um the Forest is just gonna be me. I may like, I'm entertaining the idea of doing like an EP of like of only collaborations or stuff like that, but like the people are, I got a few ideas here and there, but like it would
Mhm.
be with people who are doing something that I'm not doing already. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah. Something that's
Like
gonna add. Someone's gonna add something.
yeah, like maybe not a guitar, or like, or maybe
Yeah.
like I collaborate with someone who plays saxophone or keyboards, or
Mhm.
or maybe if there was a vocal part in mind, if I wanted to do that. All my music I feel is pretty guitar centric, so I have that melody I feel taken care of, but like I don't think vocals in any of my stuff, and that's coming from someone who used to write vocal parts in a band.
Mhm.
Like I don't hear vocals in any of my stuff.
Mhm.
So
Sometimes like it is hard for me to even find a place for vocals if like I'm writing like heavy into the writing. Um, what's up, Automoniker? Automoniker, yeah, we did already talk about his tattoo. But by the way, speaking of the tattoo, if she has an Instagram, you should definitely link us to let us know like what, like yeah, link me and then I'll add it to the YouTube version because I definitely want to shout out your tattoo artist.
Okay,
That is
yeah,
really
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
It's a, you said a moth
It's like a moth fairy.
moth
And
fairy.
yeah, and like it's like got like moth type wings, and it's kind of like a fairy. And the original one she did was like she like posted on her thing. I was like, I want that on my arm, and let's add stuff to it. And so we that's basically what we did. And her original one is like a little bit more pink. And I said, can we make her a little bit more blue? Just why not? You know? And
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. That like I'm a big fan of her artwork, and
Yeah, it looks dope, dude. Like, and
I'm happy with it.
yeah, it looks fresh and clean. Like,
And I was so like, I wanted to take the old tattoo off with a cheese grater. You know, like the old thing, I hated looking at it. It was like a bruise, you know, like it was just beat up looking,
yeah,
kind of dumb, you know. It was a lizard playing a bass. It had sentimental value because I drew it and it was music, blah, blah, blah. Like that's cool. But like, nah, like
when you're 20, yeah, but
yeah, it makes sense when you're 19, but like when like it doesn't age well. So like I'm like way more relieved about it. It's not an eyesore, and yeah, she's very, my friend's very talented and did a good job. So this hurt like hell. Going near your elbow.
Yeah, wait, where is it?
Yeah, that.
Some like I haven't got as close as you are, but holy shit!
On your left shoulder, going towards your armpit, like
Yeah.
that probably hurt like hell.
Yeah,
yeah,
them shits fucking hurt.
Yeah, like the more you go there, the more it hurts.
Yeah, like these
everything
inside spots. Like it's supposed to be a stretch, and like you have to like stretch the skin. You stretching it towards like closer to the inside and shit. Like
yeah.
Oh, that shit is not fun. But yeah, dude, a lot of these are fresh too now.
Nice.
But I need to buy my brother a tattoo. I want to get him a Wile E. Coyote tattoo because I got my Daffy Duck.
Nice.
That was my shit. Like I said, we used to draw a lot of. That's my twin brother too, by the way, Auto Moniker. I did mention you earlier.
I can't see the chat.
Let's see. How you got it pulled up? If you go to, there's like a theater mode or something. If you click, there's like a bottom right. Let me see. Yeah. Like if you're on the page, bottom right. Let me see. Like I'm playing my own audio, audioception. Yeah. You should see something like on the screen. There should say something like theater mode. Maybe that's clicked in or out. Or there's like an arrow to the right. I think is that it.
I mean, I'm in
there. It is. Top right. It says expand. Of the screen. I think that might be it. That's what I have. It's confusing. Like I know Twitch is. It just updated too recently.
Oh, so wait, are you seeing it? I'm in Zoom.
So no. It's on Twitch. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm not in Twitch right now. Okay. My bad.
Yeah. Oh, you're good.
Maybe should I get that up?
I mean, you could if you want.
Yeah, I'll try and do that.
Like you could even pull. I don't know if you have Twitch on your phone, but you could even pull the chat up on there. Just like turn it all the way down.
Yeah, I have it on my phone.
Yeah, big bet. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. Fucking, it's a dope tattoo, dude. You're gonna have to link me to her, and then I can tag her Instagram in like the YouTube version of this.
Cool.
Awesome. But yeah. So you were talking about. Okay, so let's talk about the forest room. Like whenever you started writing, right? So then you started playing shows, and how did the pandemic affect you? Like when that hit?
So kind of interesting. So I would say like I said, like
greetings and thank you, Shelby. Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate that.
So I'd say with the Force Room, I usually played like 1 to 4 shows a month. Like, and I always like aim to, try not to do it too close for comfort. There are a few exceptions. Like I've definitely been asked like, hey, someone dropped, can you play like last minute? And it's like, oh, I just played there like last week, but I'll do it if that's cool. If you need, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, I try to do it like, so, a few weeks apart or like an hour apart physically, it's got to be either one of those or both, so I would play pretty regularly. And like I said, I was pretty easy to book, and I kind of function under many different scenes, kind of well. But yeah, like, so I remember when pandemic happened, it was like I played a show. It was on my birthday. It was March 12th, 2020. I had a show at the State House with a couple other bands that I'm like was so stoked about. Like, and it was literally the Thursday. It was on a Thursday night, and that Sunday was when the world shut down. You know what I mean? Like
That's
businesses
insane.
closed. You know, like it was just like, and it was like we're having a show, and we're like, yo, should we be doing this? Like, you know, like it was like there wasn't that many people there that night, but we all made it fun. And my friend Caitlin, like she made it, like we all made the best of it, you know, because it was like kind of in the news, but nothing was clear at that time. But it was, you know, just a few days later shut down, and it was just like, oh shit. And then coincidentally, also I had a tour book that week. Like I was supposed to go on a tour. So it was March 12th. I had it on a Thursday. I was supposed to be on tour for 5 days. The week after, I had my week off work, and I had to cancel it because a few of them canceled already. And I was like, hey, things are getting kind of weird. I'm gonna have to back out all this. And so I did. And then I had that week off. I stayed home. And then when like it was time for me to go back to work, it was like
can you work from home?
it was, I think, I don't remember exactly, but it was like either I came back to work for like a day and just grab my computer and work from home after that, and it's been like that since, or like I was back at work, or I might have took my computer home, my work computer home with me before I took the week off for that tour I was supposed to do, and like I didn't even go back to work at, you know what I mean? Like I didn't even go back to the office after.
Damn.
Like it was just it was a weird coincidence. Like I had that week off, and it was already like I had that planned months ago because I had a tour, and you know, and just Northeast stuff. And yeah, so that I canceled that, and it shut down, and was working from home, and I had to take the company did like we had to take a pay cut for like a year, you know.
Ugh.
And it wasn't too bad because I wasn't driving. My commute at the time was really awful. Like I was driving like 45 minutes, an hour and a half to work sometimes. Like
Oh fuck.
it was like a 45-minute drive on a good day, but like it was in Hartford, it was in the city, like just traffic was always horrible, so that was kind of a relief, and not having to spend as much money on gas and shit. But yeah, so like working from home, and like I said, I built that tele guitar to sort of like take my mind off of like missing performing, you know.
So that's when you
And
started that project, was like everything shut down, you got
Yeah.
all this time and space, might as well use it.
yeah, I just kind of like just occupied with building that guitar, and also, you know, I was probably writing some stuff here and there, but I was really, like I said, like I didn't want to like I said, like playing music, playing shows has always been like a healing thing for me, like a cathartic thing. I just got to get this stress out of me, and that's how I do it, by, you know, audibly and like playing it. Because, you know, performing, like I'm playing, my amps are at a good volume, I'm not jamming in my garage or my apartment, you know, like, or I'm not renting a rehearsal space. Sometimes I would do that too, you know, like what yeah, it was just to get my mind off that. And then, but surprisingly, I'd say I'm not exactly sure when did things start to lighten up, maybe like towards the end of the year or the year after, like
I would say 2022, like use like just like late 2022 is when I was like seeing things normal again.
so it was, I remember it being like a Valentine's Day thing, so it was like a year later almost. And it was when venues weren't opening up like totally, they were like just doing very limited seating, and they were all like plastic guard things. And
Yeah.
me and a peer, Falconeer, another very talented New Haven musician, like kind of 80s synth pop type music, and we were actually able to play a couple shows together because we're both instrumental and we don't need a microphone. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
right.
So there was like no germ with that, but we played at this place called The Cellar at least twice. One was like a Valentine's Day theme, and one was like a Halloween theme. So
So you
yeah,
like wore masks while playing?
one of them I did,
Mhm.
and
Or this
it
is
was
like right in the beginning of it, or
no, this was like when things were kind of like
coming back?
lighting up, but it wasn't technically like full on music yet, because like I said, like
Okay.
there was no microphone, like no one was able to allow these microphones. But and they had like limited seating, you know, like they were only able to fit like 20 or 30 people in the place, you know, to be quarantined or pandemic
COVID
Right.
safe or whatever. So like that was kind of, me and my friend, Falconeer, we felt kind of like lucky at that time, when things were kind of like pretty bad, that we were like, there's not that many. I mean, there are instrumental artists, but we were both kind of like, it didn't. I guess like we felt like, oh, it's kind of cool that we're instrumental. Like we don't like that we were able to do this.
Yeah.
What we played there like twice, and so we played there on like Valentine's Day, and then again in so February and October that year or something like that, and it was still kind of like limited seating, ups and downs type of thing in Connecticut at that time. So yeah, that was like 2021 probably.
Okay. Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah.
So,
Automatica said he's a huge stand-up comedy fan, and during 2020, a lot of comedians started doing drive-in theater shows, and he knows musicians did Zoom shows, but did anyone in music ever utilize drive-in movie theaters? I don't even know.
So
drive-in movies?
I did a couple Zoom performances, streams, like that Twitch one. That was the coolest one, because like that we'll probably visit it back a bit, but like
I want to talk about that too.
That was a great time, because at that time it was like every Friday, and I would listen or watch those fake for Twitch streams while I was doing my guitar repair work, because when
that's awesome.
Quarantine pandemic happened, I think a lot of people were getting cabin fever and being indoors, and they're like, oh, I got that guitar in my closet that I haven't touched in 10 years. I'll get that set up, and they bring it to me. So I didn't really slow down too much with the guitar repair.
There actually was a resurgence, like a surgence of people learning to play guitar in 2020 and after, like
definitely
within the last like 3 or 4 years. Like there's been a huge like increase in guitars sold and lessons and all that. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, but I don't know about any drive-in performances. I think there might have been a couple, but like you have to be like, maybe the acts have to be kind of more bigger than me at least, because it's like you have to you definitely have to sell tickets and make so that whoever's doing that shindig isn't like going belly up with money expenses with whatever the outcome is, or
right. He said in the stand-up comedy context, when people laugh, they would flash their headlights and honk their horns.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool. I don't know. I've never done that. But, like, the Fake 4 thing was really awesome. Like we were on the same show. I think you had played right before me or right after. I can't remember.
I know I saw you. I think we just, like, kind of befriended in the chat and all the same. We definitely were it was, like, the same crowd every week for months. And, incredible acts all over played on that day, and I think you played like maybe a month or two after or something like that. Like I know that when I played, I was asked like kind of last minute, like someone else was supposed to do it, and I got asked last minute, and then I think even I had like one of my channels on my interface was not connected, so I might have only been coming out like one speaker or something, but everyone still said it sounded good. So but speaking of the comedy thing, like I don't really listen to podcasts, but I mostly only listen to comedian type podcasts. Like,
oh shit, you're getting way into Automatica's realm.
Okay, like Tiger Belly. I like Tiger Belly, and I listen to anything that has anything to do with Joey Diaz. But, like,
man. All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and leave. Automatica's gonna come in. He's gonna take this over, y'all. No, for real. Like, you said Joey Diaz. Fucking Automatica's going crazy. He showed me this video of Joey Diaz giving him those crazy weed candies he made. Yeah. He said, "Hell yeah, Bobby Lee."
Yeah. Hell yeah. That was a great episode. But like, so I've heard all those guys talk about that, like playing in a drive-in type thing, and they all hated it. Like doing a Zoom like
comedy show,
comedy show was like
it's so awkward.
They have to feel the room. They have to feel the room. So like that was like that didn't last long. But I've heard all those comics, like Joe Rogan too. Like they all have like all those. I only listen to really comedians that I kind of somewhat of aware of or whatever. But like Tom Segura, he's cool. I've seen Tom Segura years ago at a small club. It was cool.
Oh, that's dope.
I saw Pablo Francisco at a small club.
Oh, that's classic. I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Yeah, right. He's good. I like that guy. But like it's funny. Yeah, I can't imagine. Yeah, there's a reason that
didn't live
Oh.
long doing the in the theater.
Yeah, most definitely. I will pick this up again. I just realized I got less than 1 minute. We're about to get kicked out of this Zoom meeting. So I'll hit you with another link. We're going to take another break, and we'll come back, and we'll talk about more COVID performances or something. We'll get there. Or the Fake 4 thing. We'll get there. Whatever.
Cool.
Back.
And I did. And this
All right, we're back. Here we are. Back at it. So, yeah, Automoniker's always showing me those, like, your mom's house videos and all types of shit, like the horrible and hilarious, which we will not do.
I follow your mom's house here and there, kind of. But yeah, like I probably like at least lately too. Like, so yeah, I've only been geeking out on that stuff the last like couple of years. Like, because like even over pandemic, I would just like, what was there to do? I would just drive around, listen to music. Like I would just drive around, and then I got into podcasts, and I only want to hear the funny, like
the world is so depressing, especially
yeah.
everything's shut down and everything's going on. Like you just want to laugh.
Definitely.
Yeah, some of those are really good. There's one like that we watch all the time called Kill Tony. I think we started watching it every week. Now he got me on it, and
who's the comics on that?
It's like the lead dude, Tony Hinchcliffe. He's the dude that made the whole podcast. But basically, it's like any and every comic ever, and like they put a name in a bucket. Like people put their names in a bucket, and then he just draws out random people, and they get a minute, and then they do a minute of comedy, and then he interviews them after that. And it's a very interesting show. Yeah, it's pretty insane because you don't know if you're getting like a seasoned veteran, unheard of comedian, or a seasoned veteran. Like Ron White was on there last week. We were tripping. Like he just did a set out of nowhere.
Nice.
But, like it's pretty crazy. There's sometimes you'll see someone that's like has no business being on stage, like has no jokes, no personality, and you're like, you don't literally do anything. But yeah, it's just a very, he said, or homeless people. They do it in Austin. We've been thinking about going because it's relatively close. Texas is a big state, of course, but it's relatively close, as far as like we're in the same state. So but comedy's something I've always been interested in, as like since I would like go back to like Last Comic Standing. That's when we really like got kind of obsessed with it, and then we watched Friday Night Stand Up and all the Comedy Central Presents and stuff. And I kind of fell off like I would say like mid 2010s, but Automoniker kept watching, and then he that became his like main thing, and now he's doing his first show. He's headlining a comedy show. Also I'm gonna plug right now since he's in here. In a week from tomorrow, I think. He's headlining. Literally, he's never done a stand-up show before, and they got him into that. This is his first show. I'm pretty stoked on it because it's gonna be funny. I already know.
Nice.
But yeah. Those whenever the pandemic happened, when Twitch started doing Fake 4 Friday, rigging that up to perform on there, which like my interface stopped working. I don't remember if you saw like all of my set or whatever, but like my interface was having a problem with my old laptop to where like it would just like the audio would just mute, so I'd have to like basically unplug it and plug it back in to get the audio to come back, and then redo it on the OBS. Like remove some ring some settings, or like change it and change it back. And I had to do that in the middle of the Fake 4 set, which was like fucking devastating, but recovered well and brought it back and didn't happen again. That was really dope. But like doing that and kind of like setting up my room like this, like there's a Texas flag behind me now. Well, you probably can't even see it, but like that's a green screen right there, and I have like crazy visuals. Sometimes you'll see the live videos of me playing on my Instagram. I don't know if you've seen those before.
Yeah, I've seen those.
But yeah, like it's just like I've implemented like something new, and like it was really that Fake 4 Friday that kind of like inspired me to push the boundaries of like what an at-home live show could be. The best thing about it, honestly, is that there's no breakdown and no like leaving the venue. Like last show we did, I remember like getting home at like midnight and then being like, okay, I can either leave all my gear in the car and get it in the morning as like soon as I wake up, or I can not chance it and just take all my gear upstairs right now, tired as hell, after having played 3 hours. And that's always like the worst. It's like so yeah, of course I got all my gear because I'm not gonna leave my leave my gear in the car overnight. But it's just one of those things, like playing these live shows I started doing now, kind of slacking on them because I think I missed the last like 3 technically, but doing these live shows, I've been doing them once a month, and it's really cool because like you can have people from all over the world, you know what I'm saying? Like I got viewers from like Australia and UK and Canada and everywhere, you know what I'm saying? It's like all these people they can stay in their house too, and it's just like a whole different thing. And it's not ideal, because like the same thing with stand-up, like you want the feedback, you want to feel the room, and there's just some things about an actual live show that you can't replace. But now it's gotten to the point where I actually go to a venue to play live. I'll be like, this is the point where I would say put IW in the chat, but there's like, you know what I mean? So like I've gotten so used to some things where people will just like light up chat with like emojis or whatever. She said socially anxious people love my live stream. Are You Garbage is the best, says I Make Libras. Oh my god. Okay, so yeah, sorry to derail from music, but the Forest Room, have you ever seen Are You Garbage? No, he's not seen it. He's gonna recommend it to you right now.
Okay, so I just got the Twitch chat on my screen here now, so I can see all that better now.
Nice.
So,
Engineer
cool.
right there.
Hell yeah, I got this set up pretty nice now. No, I haven't
Sweet.
heard.
I have 2 monitors, so like that's one thing that like when I built my PC, I got a monitor to go along with it because I wasn't gonna use this old ass desktop monitor.
Yeah.
But then I was like, well, I've got this old ass desktop monitor, so I might as well use it as like a second screen.
My TV is my monitor. I got my big TV as the monitor, so that's working. I actually, where I'm sitting right now, this is where I do my day job and my music stuff. Like I got my laptop here, and then so I will use the laptop screen as like one of the monitors, and then I connect it to my TV, and that's how I got it going.
Nice.
Now. I've been doing this for like a few months at least, and I'm loving it. It's very convenient because before I was doing all this type of shit like at my workshop table, and that was like miserable because it's like I'd be there doing my day job, and then I'd be fixing guitars in the same spot like right after. So like, it was like I'd be sitting in the same spot for like 12 hours sometimes. But yeah, it's
oh god,
it's a cool setup, and yeah, your setup looks nice too.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, dude. Like that side looks nice. Well, maybe there's still a bunch of crap right there, but this side is a mess. Like everything in front of me is ridiculous. I've every notebook I've ever had since I was like 17 or 18.
Hell yeah.
Capo. I got this random crap, just random shit. I got this from the last Open Mike Eagle show. It was a raffle ticket, like just random shit. I need to put that on the wall, but anyway, it's a mess in front of me. But yeah, dude, like this, it's a whole thing, man. Twitch, it's different. Did you ever consider playing another live show on like Twitch or anything?
I would. I mean, it's been kind of like, so I moved to where I live now. I moved here like in October, end of October. So my living situation now is just like way better than it was before, and I kind of have like, I mean, I could definitely do a live stream performance like in my living room for real, and it would look probably pretty cool because it's like I have a good setup, and I'm a one-man band, so it's not like I need a huge amount of space. And that's another thing, even when I play shows, like I'm kind of like a really good opener because I can set up in front of the drum kit and have that behind me, and like it'll just be a smoother transition for everyone after me, type of thing. So yeah, like I mean, I would, but to be honest, I haven't really done it much or used Twitch much since the Fake 4 Friday kind of died out.
Which was so sad. I was like, I'm still waiting on them to have a resurgence. Chesky did play on Twitch recently, but it was like on someone else's channel or some other channel. I didn't actually catch that show. I think I was working or doing something. But
nice, yeah. I saw.
Oh, I want coffee painted. Thank you.
I saw Chesky
and Libras. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate you for being here.
I think I recognize that name on my Instagram. So
I Make Libras.
Yeah, party on. I Make Libras.
Okay, party on. Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I've met a lot of people through the Fake Four. Yeah, there's another dude that I met in that chat that I don't think he plays for any bands or performs. I think he was just there for the music and stuff. He lives in Florida, but he's been like one of my main correspondents on Instagram ever since those days. Like, it's ridiculous.
yeah.
I've met so many people like through Twitch and through, thank you, Painted Coffee Arm, whatever we're gonna call you for my stream.
That's why
Coffee all
I
day,
just
every
see
day.
it, you want coffee, and then it just comes right in your
It
door.
comes right in, literally. So my wife streams too. I'm gonna do a couple shout outs in a minute, but my wife
Yeah.
streams too. She streams with her best friend. It's called Two High Chicks, THC.
Yeah, I think I just
And,
followed their Instagram not that long
Okay,
ago. So
nice. Yeah. So they're really funny, entertaining, and they specialize in coffee and weed. So
hell yeah, that's my jam.
I'm like the coffee arm. I bring them coffee and shit.
Nice. I'm a coffee junkie, but I kind of go in phases with it. Like lately, I've been drinking this, like, I don't know if you heard it, like mushroom coffee. I've been drinking
Nah.
that lately. It's pretty good. Like, I've been trying to like reduce my caffeine consumption, and I would drink coffee all day, like all night, if it was like logical or healthy.
Yeah.
You know, like,
oh,
just
and
love
I do. See, I've had to like I've had to like go switch to more dark roasts because dark roasts have like less caffeine, and
Okay.
then even like at nighttime, I'm like, it's like 8 p.m. Like right now, it's like 7:30 p.m. It's 7:30 p.m.
Yeah.
where I am. I'm like, I'm just drinking this coffee, but yeah,
yeah.
sometimes I'll go get a decaf, but I just love the flavor. I love the everything about coffee, man.
I can't hang with decaf, but like I've been drink this mushroom coffee I've been drinking has been pretty good. It's supposed to have like collagen and other health benefits, so it's like another reason to like just stomach health or whatever. But like I think it has like real coffee, a little bit of real coffee in it. There's some caffeine in it, but it's very small amount compared. But it tastes good.
Interesting.
It tastes like, I wouldn't say it tastes like real coffee, but I think it definitely tastes better than decaf coffee.
Yeah.
Like decaf real coffee, I think it tastes better than that.
Word. Is there any like local coffee shops in Connecticut? Like, do you ever go to like little
There
shops?
I was like, so like I said, like I was like so when I was living in Cheshire, which is like 30 minutes south of where I live right now, there was Cheshire Coffee, and I used to go there like almost every day after work. Like I'd stop by there on my way home, like before I get home, you know, like. And I also used to wear a shirt and tie to my job, so it's like I'd be wearing a shirt and tie, and I'd be like tired. I'd be like, I want you to fucking kill me with caffeine. He's like, yeah, no problem. You know, like, you know what I mean? Like they would just like make me something crazy to like. And I drink coffee like usually black, or I drink it with like almond milk, or maybe like I used to do bulletproof on the weekends where I put like a big chunk of butter in it.
Wow,
Like,
that's interesting.
yeah, it's pretty good. But other than that, like, yeah, so like I do drink real coffee still, but I've been doing the mushroom coffee for like almost 2 months. But I've been drinking like real coffee maybe like only a few times a week, but still, like, it's just a phase. I'm trying to see if life is different, and I was gonna give it at least a few months, and I'll probably go into something else. Otherwise, yeah, I would drink like 2 to 4 giant coffees like every day, and up until like on the weekends I'll drink it at night. Like if I'm just in my workshop building shit or fixing shit, I'll drink it all night, just listen to music, build stuff, you know, like. Yeah. Otter Moniker, that's your brother, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, have you heard of Joey Diaz's rant about coffee? No, I haven't heard Joey. I don't think I have heard him. I mean,
Limbo.
I feel like Joey Diaz has probably got some hard opinions on coffee, but I haven't heard him yet.
This is what ISIS drinks. They stay up for 3 days. That's fucking ridiculous. Yo, Limbo, welcome in, man. Limbo is awesome too. He's from Pennsylvania.
Cool.
And yeah, we met up with him, and that probably, I don't know if you saw that post, but yeah, we all met up. It was fucking awesome. I've also collaborated with him. We made a song together. Came out in May, like a whole year ago. I can't even believe it.
Wow.
But yeah, he's got some shit
Nice.
in the pipeline too.
Nice.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome. Speaking of which, like your music coming out, like you said, it's getting mixed. Like, how soon do you plan on releasing it?
So I'm kind of, well, one, it's like I'm trying to like, so as I mentioned, being in bands before, and part of another reason I kind of like doing everything by myself is that like it's happening at my pace. You know, when you're in a group situation, you're only as fast as your slowest wheel. So if someone is like not like wanting to, if someone is being slow, like, yeah, anyway, like I don't there's little hesitation. I'm trying to be a doer and not like talk about things so much. Like not, I don't mean like here, but I mean like in general, like as far as, when you're like, I've been in bands like, oh, we should do this. Like, yeah, that would be cool. And then it doesn't happen, like I'm like anti that. I'm kind of like, but not be, I'm trying to,
Like,
when I was in that band Burroughs, we've had a couple releases where it was like, we finished the release and then like, all right, let's put it out. And we put it out like 2 weeks later. Like there was no build up or plan or like type of promo type thing, like, which is cool and not cool at the same time. Just how you look at it. But like, I'm trying to have like a somewhat of a plan, I guess.
right.
So I'm still like kind of working on that plan basically. Even if like I do, I try to direct a lot of things to my YouTube page because that's where a lot of my music is like performed and written. But
Right. Also, by the way, I did make a new chat command. If you do ! The Forest Room, it'll open up a link to his Bandcamp right now. So just letting you know in the chat. Like, there you go. I'll do it right now.
Thank you.
Yeah, forgot about that. Oh fucking! I put a little slash when I hit enter.
Yeah, that's my YouTube
There it goes.
page there.
Yeah, there goes the YouTube.
Cool.
So we got Bandcamp and YouTube back to back, guys. So if you want to check that out, please go sub, go follow, whatever you use. And a lot of people using YouTube.
I basically, and on my YouTube, I just have like a couple like old, really, not YouTube, my Bandcamp. My Bandcamp has like some old stuff. And then I also have a CD that I've been like mostly been giving away, but like selling at shows and stuff. And to be honest, like that stuff is only on the CD. I made like 300 of those CDs.
Oh really? They're not on Bandcamp or YouTube?
I might do that eventually, but it was like I was keeping it exclusive to the CD. I thought might make it like
more valuable.
Yeah, but
yeah.
It really
no, because literally I was thinking like I want to buy one. Like I'm gonna fucking send you money right now. I want one.
it might be on my. It might be for sale on my Bandcamp, but it doesn't have the digital.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, dude. I'm gonna have to cop
check
one of those because we literally went and bought a fucking CD player because I still listen to CDs. Like I still have a shitload of them. Like
so that's the thing. Like I said I was like selling them, but I was mostly giving away because people don't really listen to CDs.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, I don't. I stream. I mean, I just listen to Spotify because I'm a music junkie. Like that's just the easiest, most convenient way to get it.
Yep.
And like. But
I pay the $10, man. I'm not proud of it, but I do. I need to choose and yeah, I like my playlist.
I'll just see if I have more CDs. I'll send you one. But yeah, like I made like 250, almost 300 of these. Like I hand printed them. I made like a linoleum cut and put my graphic on a cardboard sleeve, and I printed and burned it with my I printed a small I didn't want to use a lot of ink on printing. You know what I mean? When you're doing CDs on a like a desktop printer.
Yeah, you want to conserve ink and shit.
Yeah. So like I just put like all the info on the CD type of thing, and yeah, I might put that on Bandcamp, the digital version, but maybe I don't know. I got a bunch of. The priority is the stuff I have recorded in the studio now that I'm trying to like kind of think of, but I do have like other ideas of like that to get. Once I have the Spotify up, maybe those two of those songs are being re-recorded anyway. So like it's all gonna be on the next release. But yeah, like it's currently being mixed now. I recorded them. I recorded 12 songs at Sans Serif Studio in New Haven with Sam Carlson. He did a Fake 4 performance at one point.
Nice.
He did like an acoustic. He's more of like an acoustic songwriter type thing, and he did that in his studio on the Fake 4 stream. But anyway, he was like my go-to dude because he's done live sound for me at a few of the clubs in Connecticut and New Haven before, and he uses Logic, which I'm trying to transition to for my DAW and production stuff.
Like you still use GarageBand right now?
Yeah, I still use GarageBand.
And that's the drum loops and shit you use?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's dope. Like my brother just hooked me up with a fucking iPhone, and I'm using it for the first time, and I'm like, dude, these drums sound so good. Like I was surprised.
Yeah. It's pretty legit. Like the stuff with just stock stuff, and I'm very, like I said, that's like my weakest I think my weakest point is the whole like production and recording thing. Like I can play well and sound good, but like capturing it and know like the engineering of it and stuff is kind of like low on my frequency, you know, like
Yeah.
as far as how often I've done that. Like when I was in Burroughs, we recorded our last 3 EPs ourselves, but and our drummer was like the engineer of that. Like he was at the computer while we were playing basically, and like I don't know any of that stuff,
That's
like
dope.
really, like, but yeah, like
I
yeah,
basically learned when I started actually recording. Like my first band were like basically punk. It's like 3-piece, a bunch of nothing, and then we were like recorded those songs, and then I started recording my own stuff like on the side. It took me like probably 5 to 6 years to record my first album, and then
and what were you using for
like
that?
I went to SG Studios. This dude named Greg White runs a studio down the street from where I live, and the first time we found him, I was like, okay, this we recorded in his B room with a different engineer, but he was like really cool. He was like there, the vibe was there. So it was like, let's go back there, and we recorded in the A room when we did our Visibility record, our Visi Inc. Our record label's like Visibility Records. Our group is Visi Inc. And we did a bunch of those songs, and that was when I really like when I was trying to explain what I wanted the song to do. You know, is like when I was like kind of sparked to be like, well, I want to know how to say this properly, like where I can say like that, like put a high pass filter on this or put a low pass filter, or like run this through a phaser or what, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it was easier for me to identify like what I wanted to sound like. So that's like kind of where the curiosity started. And then I was already making beats on FL, but I kind of like separate, like I thought you could only record songs on Pro Tools. That's how dumb I was to the process. So like I had FL, and I thought it was just a beat making software where you could just make beats. And then I started watching tutorials about how to like mix vocals and route vocals, and I was like, wow, you can make actual full songs on FL. And then that's when I got heavy into like producing and like trying to produce myself. And I'm still learning to this day, but yeah, I just put out, I have a new song coming out. I haven't announced it yet, but the streaming services already have it. Wait, what the fuck? Adam and Eve were the first ones to ignore the Apple terms and conditions. That's hilarious. I don't know where that came from, because that's from my bot, isn't it? Or is that the joke of the day? Yeah, okay, that's the joke of the day. I'm tripping. I'm like, how does Street Elements know my motherfucking... Yep. I forgot even changing the joke. Is that an old joke? Oh my god. Yeah, I have like a exclamation point joke of the day on my Twitch where people can put that and it'll pop up with a joke. Can't wait to hear that Bad Boy in all its glory. You kind of already heard it, Limbo. You're one of the first people that heard it, but I did change it a little. It sounds fucking fantastic, and I mastered it. But yeah, I have a Jawbreaker cover coming out. Are you familiar with like Jawbreaker?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, fuck yeah. And that's like my favorite band of all time. So I've been like putting off a cover for a long time to where I knew like where I could get it to a point where it sounds good to me.
So are you
well,
like now, so you were meant the studio before, so now are you doing it all on your own in your space?
Yeah. Now I'm like working exclusively on my space. I guess I didn't finish, my bad. Yeah, so like I worked with Greg, and then it was like working with Greg, I took a lot of knowledge from him too. Like I would look up tutorials, and then I'd go work with Greg, and I'd look up tutorials, and then eventually I'm going to him less, and I'm working on my own stuff more. And then that was also like when I released my first record, which was recorded entirely at SG Studios. I put out like 7 or 8 songs before that I recorded and produced myself. And the idea was like, one, to have content out already so that people like the album, they can go back and find more stuff. But also, like, if I put out all the stuff that I recorded first, it wouldn't sound as good as the professionally recorded stuff. So like, it was a good build up. S'mores, hold up, what am I missing? Oh, cool, yeah, thanks for putting the link in the chat. Yeah, so keep that going. Y'all could check out Forest Room's performance, because Let me pull it up here. Is this from your channel? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, dude. And and the lighting, dude. So like, at what point did you decide to like start making your own lighting and like,
So
adding it to your show?
So when I first, like, not long after the first show I did, like I said, I performed at like a bookstore. So, and I kind of performed at like bookstores and cafes and coffee stuff and open mics. I still go to open mics, like, and hang out and perform or watch performers. But anyway, like shortly after kind of performing, I kind of wanted like, so to be honest, it was like back in the day, I played in a band that was really cool, but like we were like a heavy metal instrumental thing and it was really cool, but like I was always like anti-instrumental because I wanted that energy like of like with a vocalist would deliver.
Yeah.
But like, to be honest, and vocalists are a different breed, a difficult breed sometimes.
Yeah.
So like
LSD.
or yeah,
You've
lead
heard of that,
singer,
right?
yeah.
Lead singer. For those of you who don't know,
Yeah.
it's lead singer disease or lead singer disorder,
Yeah.
where the ego is like just it gets in everyone else's way in the band.
Yeah. Well, so whether it's ego or just like not being reliable or like like just just even just the set it being a fifth member instead of four people, you know what I mean, like any little logistics that you can kind of like nitpick out as far as like having a vocalist. I always like defended wanting one over when my band at the time didn't really want to do that, and I was like, I want that. But anyway, so when I was performing as the Forest Room, I kind of wanted something to kind of what would be visual to my setup that would make me not just instrumental, I guess you can say.
Mhm.
Like I mean, I am instrumental, but I mean, like I wanted like another element to look at. So I'd get these LED strips, RGB LED strips, and they're pretty inexpensive, affordable. They're like 10-15 bucks for like a 15-foot strip or whatever. And I used to like, it's like, oh, those are pretty cool. I think I had one just like set up in my room at the time. And like I said, this is early, 2012-ish, something like that. And I would just coil it up and just spread it on the floor and just perform with that on the floor.
Oh, that's
in
cool.
front of me. But
Is that what you did during the Fake Four, like, or
no,
did you already have the lights?
I had the towers at the
Okay,
time.
nice.
Because I built those towers. So I finished the towers. So anyway, like I would, what I'll say, like early on, I would just take up one strip and just coil it up and wrap it up and uncoil it like every show. But they're not meant to do that. Like I kept breaking them, which like I said, they're cheap, and I kept making ways to like kind of like I would glue like a stretchy material to the back of it so that it would like kind of hold up better and take the coil and uncoil better. But anyway, they're inexpensive and they just kept breaking. They're not meant to do that. So it's like, oh, I gotta build something that's like more set, like
Mhm.
that's set up and I could just bring with me. And then I had the idea to do these light towers, and I at first, so there was two versions of my light towers. The first version, which is still the main part, the same lights, the same LED strip, like that. I basically spent like 2 weeks just walking around Home Depot and Lowe's, just researching parts that I could use for something like this.
Like the lightest woods and stuff, or
yeah, like would I use wood? Would I use like a metal pole? Or like what I ended up doing basically was my light towers are pretty much made out of PVC plumbing parts. Like,
okay.
There's actually a toilet flange in it. None of it's used,
That's funny.
obviously. But
Yeah.
there's a floor flange and a toilet flange holding. So everything was bought at Home Depot or Lowe's, except for I have like an outer plastic tube that protects. That's the clear part of the light. That I got at a store that makes presentation plastics, like stuff for like storefronts or like restaurant menus, you know what I mean, like plastics that were like some paper, like display plastic. So
Yeah.
I found these like clear tubes, like, oh, that would work. And then I basically built and found like the right fitting PVC pipes to cut, and it took me like 3 nights to make them. I think I made them around like 2015. And then at the time they were lights. They were basically 2 separate lights and I had to use like a TV remote to turn them on. It was like a directional remote. You know, they have all these lights are very popular
like,
things
like this.
exactly.
Like,
I had it was those. It was I was controlling it with that, and then
yeah, that's what these are like over here. See, now it doesn't want to do it, but it'll. There's like a fade option.
yeah, like it's so sick how like the options you have with that, because those things are like A, they're inexpensive, B,
Does this thing hate me now?
they don't consume a lot of power. Like my two towers are probably like 15 watts each, you know, like they're pretty.
That's so dope. Are they like plugged in with like USB or?
So right now they are it's like a regular, you know, they plug into the wall or whatever, an outlet, and then what,
I'm gonna pull up the video right here.
cool.
Yeah, so you can see these lights.
So shortly after, I converted them to a Bluetooth controller, so I control them with an app on my phone. So at first it was
that's sick.
So first I was using that remote like that you have, and what was cool about that is that the music follow setting on those, it's a really good like setting on that remote or whatever. Like it follows the music good, but with the Bluetooth one, the light goes off when there's no like sound or there's a break in the sound, so that's kind of weird. But like,
interesting.
What's cool about the Bluetooth thing though is that the app that whatever uses it, I can program some of my lighting fades. Like
dope.
It's got like a 16 block sequencer that I can basically plug in whatever color and like adjust the speed of the light transition. So I kind of like try to set like a different like vibe to certain songs kind of, but I kind of just improvise and wing it and program the lights like just whatever feels right. I generally gravitate towards like, so you may have noticed I got my glasses that glow, like so
those are the same glasses.
These aren't it. These are clear, but I have those. I wear those ones live. I mean, I wear prescription glasses, but like I have those neon glasses that they just pop and glow crazy. And blue light makes them pop, and magenta light makes them pop too. So, but most places have blue light. So like if the house venue has like lights, like, hey, can you set those blue so that my glasses will constantly pop? And then I'll have my stage lights change in colors. So like it's kind of cool to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I did the Bluetooth thing. It was basically just swapping out a few wires in a box, and I also designed the lights so that like if I ever had to take them apart and replace anything, it should go pretty smooth. I did break one of the lights when I built it. Like I smashed the plastic, like, but I was able to epoxy it together, and it's held up since. Nothing's changed. Like I've been going hard with them. I've toured with them. I have one of those stooly roof rack box thingies on my vehicle.
Oh, nice.
That's how I transport my lights. I keep them in a roof box.
Oh man, that's dope.
So like they do fit in my vehicle otherwise, but it's just easier to put them in a roof box than having in the car, because they go up to like the passenger seat almost, because they're like as tall as me, maybe a little bit taller, but they're, you know, I'm 5'7", like these things are probably like 5'8", 5'9" standing.
That's dope.
But yeah, like and then I also when I made the Bluetooth controller, I had to protect the base of it better, because it was just like too much wires kind of like exposed if I didn't want to get one tugged on or, you know, something moving. And it's so I built the box around it just out of wood and speaker carpet, so like it's just like a tight box. And yeah, they've been going well for a while, and it's definitely like I kind of aim to like only perform with them. Like I don't play too many daytime shows, even though I definitely do, and I have, and I just prefer, I just want it dark. I want it dark. And that's part of my vibe. I think it's part of the music, like visually and aesthetically, like to have the colors with the music. Like that's the Forest Room, is the weird light colors and the music.
Yeah, dude. It's a dope vibe, man. I want to ask you a couple more things.
Cool.
Okay, hold up. I gotta write them down because I'm literally gonna forget them.
That's cool.
Okay, and then also we got to restart the meeting, so we got like 5 minutes left on this meeting, but I don't want to get into some shit and then have to restart. So yeah, well, this is gonna be a good time to take our last break, and then we'll come back. I got like 2 more things to ask you, about music and stuff like that, and your opinions, and maybe 3. So we'll see.
Cool, sounds
But
good.
yeah, I'll see you in a minute.
All right, cool.
In the stand because I felt more comfortable singing that way, and then I was like, oh, I'm not moving. No, you can move. You have to move. It's a dance song. It's ironic. Move. I like doing the shoulder thing. I don't know if y'all were doing that. It's like kind of that. What is that? Tina Turner kind of shit. I learned that from Wayne Brady. And whose line is it anyway? This one's called Everyone's in Circles.
Gratify my ego. I still try. Don't know why. I still try.
Would have kept up at it. I would have been pretty good at it, but at some point in time, I just stopped drawing and doing stuff like that. My love for music took over. That's what happened.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, writing's so much cooler because then I can get out every thought in my head.
Yo.
At that point in time, you can know what I was thinking when I wrote this.
Hell yeah. You know what, like, I heard something else about that is like visual art is like filling up space, and audio. She's like, you dumb shits. Oh, we're
my
sorry.
God.
Look at this. She literally said you're dumb.
Thank you.
We're
sorry.
back into it.
Appreciate it.
You.
Limbo with the... All right, dude, we're back. Thank you for being patient with us. I will buy Zoom one day, I promise. when it's feasible. Okay, Matt, real quick. I want to ask you. I feel like, okay, so do you know who Glenn Fricker is?
Does that sound familiar? The producer, guitar dude?
He's like a producer metal dude. He yells
Long
a lot.
hair, he's old, he's got glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I was gonna ask, since you build amps, like one of the things that comes up all on his channel a lot is like basically amps versus like things like the Quad Cortex and the Kempers and stuff. Like do you prefer amps and why, or would you ever switch to one of those?
That's a good question. So I'm kind of like in the middle. I'm like both, I guess, so in my live setup, I play through bass amps because that makes like I said, I'm mostly a bass player, so I have that anyway. B, my drum tracks always sound better through bass amps, not, it just doesn't sound as good as guitar amps. I have actual octave and bass sounds in my guitar, so obviously that's going to sound better for the bass lines. So but all of my production and all of my sound basically is managed and tweaked before the amp.
Right.
So like I could play even through just like an interface, and it probably with a sound, like as long as it has a sound card, it'd probably all sound really good. Like I have this mixer thing that connects to my phone that sounds pretty good. So anyway, like I need a good amp. Like I played through some amps, like that's my main amp. That's been my main amp for a few years. But like
I'll make sure we can see it.
I played
pull
through
you a little bit.
I played through some amps that didn't sound as good over the years, but that's been my go-to for the last like 4 or 5 years probably. But I also, when I built that piezo telly, I had to put a preamp pedal on my pedal board to sort of like tweak that better. And I'm using an impulse response on that. So that's kind of part of that, I guess part of that quad Kemper thing. I'm not really into the Kemper, like that stuff. All that stuff's crazy expensive anyway. I don't think I ever want to buy it.
It's like, do you want to like spend the money or have back problems?
Yeah, pretty much. And all my equipment is pretty like really self-sufficient. Like even if the house didn't have, even if I wasn't plugging into a house PA, I could probably still sound all right, at least at the venues that I usually play at. But I usually play with that amp with a 12-inch speaker on the other side. So I have sound on like both sides of me.
Nice.
And then I run a DI to the house PA usually, and then they do whatever they want. Like, and I'm like the easiest guy live, like the sound text, like just the XLR for my amp, that's it. No, a talkback mic, that's it. Like they don't have to tweak anything. Everything's mixed before I even go to the amp. You know what I mean? So like I do all that at home. Everything is like beaten to death before all that happens. So I guess like I'm not into the Kemper stuff. Like I would never get into it. But I've definitely seen a lot of bands that I've gone to see and they're using it and it sounds good. And I've seen bands use it and it sounds like horrible. Like I saw this, I remember I think it was Monuments and Polyphia and some other bands. And like years ago when I guess Kemper and all that started to first in the Helix or whatever, like started to come out. And Monuments was the best sounding band that night, and I think they were the only one with real amps on stage. So like I think that accounts for some things. I think you feel it more. But I remember like years ago, and I actually use it. So when I built that Tele 2, I was able to add distortion to my palette. Like I couldn't really do that on a hollow body acoustic without getting feedback. But now that I have that new guitar, I can still sound acoustic, but I could also add distortion without getting feedback.
Nice.
So I'm using this pedal it's a more, I forget the number, but it's called the More Brown Sound. It's a tiny pedal, but that uses that similar impulse response technology. Like it sounds like a PV 5150, but it's in a tiny pedal. And like it sounds heavy, it sounds really good. It's like there's a little bit of noise, but you kind of expect that with a high gain sound. But yeah, like I guess I'm mostly not for that Kemper stuff, but some of that technology is kind of relevant in my rig.
Yeah, I'm definitely not like I've no desire to get a Kemper or anything like that. Like mainly because of the price, but also like I already have like amps, so it'd be kind of replacing, and I don't really need to replace something that started working. Though it like sometimes when I am taking my amp out of the car or putting it in, it's like it's like
totally.
So.
I live on a third floor, so I'm taking my shit like up and downstairs. So
nope,
like
I live on a second floor, which is not quite as bad, but oh my god. I can't imagine. That sounds painful, but I bet your fucking legs are strong as hell.
Yeah, I mean, I always say like there's gonna be a day where I wish I could walk up those stairs with my heavy ass amp. You know what I mean? Like, So do it all, get used to it. You know, exercise. You know, do it. You know, like I don't have elevators in
motivation.
My place.
No elevators.
Yeah, I live on top of like an insurance company. Like it's like a house looking type of thing.
Interesting. That's crazy. That's a whole nother thing. Okay, I want to ask you about the forest ring. I have two more questions. I just remembered. I'm gonna just keep asking more things, but there's one thing I always ask. I'll save that for last. But I want to talk more about like the forest room music. Like you have the loops that you work off of, but like the top layer, are you usually improvising or is that all written too?
So, the way part of my workflow with it is it's like I'll have like a riff or a drum beat and I'll just start riffing and trying to compose something with it. Like I'll set a count, I'll do this so many times and I'll change it up. And as I've mentioned with the effects pedals and stuff that I use, I try to give like a slightly different flavor to every loop so that it's like, so hopefully not everything is occupying the same frequencies and getting muddy or whatever. But when things are, I'm writing, I'm riffing out, kind of improvising, and I take a video of it, and then I usually get something good in like a few takes, and that's what ends up on my YouTube channel. That's kind of how all the songs are even written. Like, so it's written kind of improvised. Some songs, like I'll have like a piece like that I've been sitting on for a while, but I won't implement it into anything until like later on or whatever. But like, so it's all written kind of improvised. And then I basically I have that on my phone or I have it on my YouTube, and I basically beat that to death and learn it again. And like, so everything, like there's definitely like a written lockdown structure to all of this stuff, but some of my guitar solos are improvised, you know, like, or I'll have like the majority of it mapped out, but most of my guitar solos are pretty much written note for note. Like I kind of do the same thing each night or whatever. But yeah, some things do are kind of improvised. And even if like say if I'm playing like I play all different kinds of shows. I definitely prefer like the 30 to 45 minute set with a full lineup of bands or whatever.
Hmm.
But if sometimes I'll play at like a brewery because it's like, oh, that'll be fun. I'll do that. People like hearing that rather than hearing Oasis Wonderwall, you know? Like,
Yeah,
so like I get those opportunities, and sometimes I'll just improvise a whole like jam, like you
that's
know, like
dope. Yeah.
or I'll recycle a beat and just like do something, you know, totally on the spot. But yeah, it's written, improvised, then it's locked down, and then it's kind of set there, and very little changes after that, I guess. And I don't have to rehearse that much. I mean, sometimes I do, but not as much as like a band would. You know,
Yeah.
like when I was playing in bands over the years, usually bands, I would say, like, to be kind of productive, you practice like once every week or two, or you know, maybe once a
Mhm.
month, depending on what you're doing. Like I always like to be in bands that rehearse kind of regularly, because if I don't, I fought like what, I don't remember that song. Like
Yeah.
I'll forget
I'm a
shit.
once a
Like,
week kind of person. Like
yeah,
when we were doing the extracts, I was over there every week, and
it's something to look forward to.
yeah, definitely. I enjoy it as like like for the camaraderie as well as like the jamming and just performing live, and especially when you got the full drum kit and the bass and like a full band, it's just something different. And there's a lot more freedom, you know. Like I've played to beats before, you know. I played a lot of beats now.
Mhm.
But this just like I like the freedom of a band. Like one of my most influential guitar players, or I'm influenced by, is Jay Mascis, you know, from Dinosaur Jr.
Hell
Yeah, so yeah, I love that whole like that free like the solo section's done when I say it's done, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not
totally.
that a great of an improviser, honestly, but like you know, I'd like to get there eventually. But yeah,
That's
I just
awesome.
I like the freedom of the having the band too. Did you ever plan on like doing any vocals with Forest Room?
To be honest, it's like it's kind of like it's not far from my mind,
Mm.
but it's like I'm doing so much as it is. Like, do I want to add another thing? Like, I don't want to add any more equipment. I'd have to add, if I was gonna implement vocals, I'd have to add some more equipment
Mhm.
somehow.
Right.
If
Oh yeah, yeah. To
you know,
perform
like,
live, you mean?
yeah, to do it live. I do have some idea. You know, I like, so when I sang in Burroughs, I was just yelling my head off. I was like an ogre,
Mhm.
you know. And like with this, I don't really hear that relevant in the Forest Room. I think it's a
Mhm.
bit more universal than that. So I'd have to kind of develop a voice for that somehow. Like I'm not fearing it. Like I took vocal lessons years ago. I'm not totally confident in it yet, but
Mhm.
like I think I would add my own vocals before like trying to get someone else to do it, because I still
Right.
want to be self-reliant. But like I said, also like I would like collaborate if I had that in mind in the beginning to kind of do something. But usually, you know, I'm still focused on just being the one guy doing it. But yeah, like I have some ideas, because you know I'd want reverb on my voice. Like how am I gonna do that? You know, like, and then also how
Mhm.
would I, do I have it going through my amp, or would I do something, you know, I'd have to like think of those things, and
Yeah.
it's more things to carry.
Like
But
I
like
think I have like 4 or 5 outputs, like because that sounds pretty amazing. Like how you said you're a sound guy's dream, you know, like
yeah.
you've like very minimal. Like I have like my sample pad, which is it'll do 2 quarters out
Mhm,
to get the stereo, but like I usually just do mono.
mhm.
And then I have my acoustic guitar, I have my electric guitar, which I usually have in separate on separate amps that they mic separately, and then yeah, with my vocal, I have an actual like a vocal pedal thing, but it gives me reverb or delay, or there's even like a microphone, a megaphone effect. It can
Nice.
like mono, it can like you know, monotone like robot sound,
Mhm.
and you know, a whole bunch of different things you can do. So yeah, I ended up like getting all this gear, and I never learned how to like loop. I would like to
Yeah.
learn how to loop, but it's awesome to see and awesome to watch. Definitely would recommend watching that video, by the way. Those of you that's here. I guess I'll hydrate. I'm trying to drink coffee till I pass out, or the opposite. What's the opposite of passing out? Shooting to the
Waking up.
waking up. Like just like the stream's going for another 4 hours.
Getting lifted.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess I'll we're already past 2 hours. Usually I just do these for 2 hours, but I always ask people. Usually this is the first thing I ask, but this is gonna be the last thing I ask you. But I always love this answer because everyone's got a different answer. What is the best live show, like besides one that you've played, that you've been to?
So one, I might say
You can give two or three.
okay.
if you
So
need.
like I have two shows that like I'm two concerts. Like I'm gonna say concerts because that kind of sticks out from like a house show or like
Yeah.
those shows are kind of cool, or the hall shows. Like I said, I was mentioning earlier that like I got to see so many cool touring bands in the mid 2000s. Like so all those shows are cool, and I don't know if I
Yeah.
can pick any one from that. But
Like
like
last time I saw Chesky was at the Sons of Herman Hall in Dallas. That was like built in like 1905, like this old ass building.
yeah.
There's like this upstairs ballroom with a corner stage that looked like one of those old like the girl laying on the piano with a cigarette. You know what I mean? Like one of those stages. And it was also the room where they shot some of RoboCop, which is like its
Nice.
claim to fame or whatever. But yeah, dude, I love shows like
Nice.
that too. But anyway, continue.
So like two shows that really stick it like out to me that were just like banger, awesome, mind blown for days after was I saw Neurosis at College Street Music Hall in 2017 or 2018. And they're one of my
Neurosis, are they a harder band?
yeah, they're on that record label I mentioned
Okay.
before, Relapse Records. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. I mean, they've been a band since like late 80s, early 90s.
Oh wow.
They're old dudes, but they're so heavy. They sound like a thunderstorm. Like just like they're so heavy, and they can move continents like with their sound.
That's
like
incredible.
like they're just so heavy. That was just so heavy. Like, and I've never seen them before. That was my someone I've been listening to them like. So at the time, I mean, I got into them when I was like first year of college, so like early 2000, and then to see them, after listening to them for almost 20 years, it was cool to see that.
That's awesome.
And then another concert that was really awesome, that just was just bangers and like all bangers, was I saw the main reason I went is because I wanted to see Banks, but it was Banks and The Weeknd at Mohegan Sun Casino, and that was around 2015, I think 2014, 2015. And
so I'm guessing that was a really big show, like a
that
concert.
was huge. That was like, we had really good seats and the tickets were pretty expensive, but it was worth it. That was like, I love Banks. She sounds like dark goth gloomy Aaliyah type stuff, and like that album at the time was really good. I was just bumping that like crazy, and so those shows were. And
I'm gonna have to listen to that because I'm not really familiar with Banks. I feel like I know the name. I know Miss Banks, like out of the UK, but I'm not sure I know about Banks.
Banks, she's I don't know when I got into her, but like I forget the name of that album too. But she's just like, it's like, I like, if you can't tell already, or even what we've been talking about, it's like I like music that's like real, like
different.
Like Portishead is one of my all-time. Neurosis, Portishead, they're two of my favorite bands of all time. Portishead is like, I feel like that music, when I first got into Portishead, I was like a teenager, early mid 90s, and I thought it was like the saddest music I ever heard at the time. It was so goddamn sad, like this is miserable, what the hell. And then like after a while, like it kind of grew on me. It's like, it's so sad, it's beautiful. Like it's so gloomy, it's beautiful, you melt to it. And that, like, Banks is kind of like, her stuff is kind of anything that reminds me of like Portishead, and it's sad and gloomy. And but I'm
so intrigued to hear all these artists you're talking about, because The Weeknd is so far the only one that you know, and I fucking love The Weeknd.
Yeah, like
I haven't gone out and listened to like a Weeknd record, but like everything that he's ever released, and I've watched like production.
And when I
breakdowns.
saw The Weeknd, it was right after, I think, Trilogy. So he played a good amount of Trilogy at that time too. So it was just like, and that's like my favorite stuff by him was his early 3 EPs. And yeah, so Neurosis and Banks and The Weeknd were two like really killers. And
that's dope. So it was like a spectacle, like a big spectacle, like
pretty much. I mean, like when I saw Neurosis, that was with Converge and Amin Ra at College Street, and I was just, like I said, like I don't know if that was sold out. Another thing that stands out to memory about that show is that I shaved my beard off for a job interview for that, and so I was literally in a venue where I knew everybody in the venue. Just all my friends were there. No one recognized me because I was clean shaven, and no, like I
just like walking past you.
like I had a beard for like 10 years at that time, you know, like no one's
Yeah.
really seen that ever. And I shaved my beard off for a job interview, which is the job I have now, actually. So like,
Oh, okay.
so as I got the job,
Now
I
beards
could-
are cool.
yeah. So as I got the job, it's like, I got the beard back, so I can do that now because I got the job. Like, but
That's so
yeah,
funny.
like that was a good time.
I had like long hair for like, I think when I was like 13 or 14, I started growing my hair out long, and my hair was like super long. And when I was 17, I shaved it for like, I shaved my head like clean bald for the first time. And I came to school the next day, and there was like a couple of people, like, you know, between passing periods, you know, you see the same people, right? So one of my friends, Shamika, like, it's like expecting to see her, and I'm like, hey Shamika, and she just like walks past me, and then I'm like, Shamika, and she like looks at me, she like looks past me, and I'm like, it's me, Brandon. She's like, and she like looked at me like she was not only shocked but like mad, like angry,
Yeah.
like what? Like she hit me on like my arm and shit. Why'd you shave your head? And I did it again when I was like 19, and then I did it again last year. Shout out to Shave Heads.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah! Look, who's Jerry? He said Autumn. Jerry was in To Portishead. He has a couple songs in the playlist. Show me Autumn Moniker.
Yeah, get that. It's the
Yeah,
best. I
that sounds-
listen to Portishead the live at Roseland set when I'm cooking a lot. Like when I'm cooking and meal prepping at home, I put on Portishead live at Roseland. That whole performance is, they perform with an orchestra. It's dope as hell. It's
Man.
just like,
You already
like,
sold me.
it's dark and it's happy, and I just that's like, I call it like bipolar music in a way. Like if it's really dark and really dark and sad and gloomy, and then also really it makes you really happy, or you know, like I like that. And you may even notice in some of my music, I got songs that are really like low and slow.
Yeah.
I also got songs that fit in a dance party. So
Yeah.
I'm down for all of it.
Yeah, that's. I'm gonna have you on here again one time, because I also wanted to ask like well, not really ask. You kind of touched on it, but like how you're able to like play like with any type of genre, you know, with your like being an instrumental, and the way your style is, and like how you use loops, but you like your main guitar set like focus. There's just, you can fit in so many different brackets as far as like shows, and that's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's great to. Yeah, I definitely want to like actually see you live too one day. That'd be fucking dope. Like other than like the Fake Four thing, which I think the Fake Four has all their shows still on their Twitch, so you can go check that out. Forest Room played on Fake Four Friday. I played on Fake Four Friday. Of course, Chesky's been on there. I think Miles was on there once. It's been it's pretty dope. Wait, who's joining? What? Oh yeah, you joining? Are you gonna join Shavehead Gang Limbo? What's going on?
Yeah, I just shaved my
Connecticut.
head a few months ago because, you know, it's the solar panel was showing, so I had to like just
Right.
And it's so hot right now. I was sick of it. I'm owning it. I'm not shaving it with a razor. I'm just using the lowest buzzer thing.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I'm thinking I'm rolling with that for a while.
That's what I've been doing. Like I'm like, nah, like I ain't trying to fuck with the shit anymore. Plus, I was shedding like crazy. Like there would just be hair everywhere, tangled up in the vacuum, and just tracking it everywhere. But yeah, so shave your head. Plus, we were on almost 110 degrees all week last week.
Oh wow, yeah,
It's,
that's right. You're in Texas, right?
Texas, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Straight-
Where in Texas?
North Texas, Fort Worth. So DFW, like
Cool.
45 minutes from Dallas.
Yeah, my younger brother lives in New Orleans, so he's down south and he's in that humid heat right now.
Oh
and
man, that's even more humid.
Yeah.
In New Orleans, like that ain't fun, man. I'm trying to stay inside. You see why I play a lot of video games.
Yeah.
Play my guitar. Been working on some more music, but yeah, dude. But Matt Strite is here, the Forest Room. Exclamation mark for the Forest Room, and you can find his Bandcamp. He already put his YouTube in. Let me see if I can bring that back. Yeah, please go check out. Here we go. I'm gonna put his YouTube again. Yeah, dope shit. Plus, this will be on YouTube eventually. Probably in like 2 or 3 weeks.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks for joining me, man. It's been a
Dude,
pleasure.
thank you so much for having me, and it's so cool to have like this conversation after like we met from Fake for Friday, like,
Yeah.
over 2 years ago. So that is really like, yeah, it's been almost 3 years ago. So yeah,
It's crazy.
We've been in touch since and following each other's stuff since. So thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to crossing paths again and reconnecting and promoting what you got going on too. So thank you.
Man, thanks for being on here, man, dude. He said subbed. Oh yeah, there you go. You got a sub right there.